All right, everybody, here we go. 4th and 5, back at it again as we are live at Oaklawn Park. We know it's been a long time since we've been here. Very excited to be here as the Rebel Stakes is up and running today. You can see the ponies getting up and ready. We are live at the Mainline Sports Bar. And like I said, we got a big time show for you coming up here today. So if you're in Hot Springs, we're going to be here for the next 2 hours. Feel free to come on down as we are set and ready to do this. Our first live show. Here it is, DJ Williams here with Grant Cook and Josh Throne, fellas. So we've been kind of MIA for the past couple months, but we've been working on a lot to make sure that we can take this product to the next level with the element to start doing live shows. And that's exactly what we got for you right now. Now, we will say this. It's going to be our first time out of the gate. There's going to be a couple hiccups, and so just bear with us. We're going to figure this thing out. Also, we have a really cool element, a part of this show. We want our viewers to be involved. So on Facebook, on YouTube, on X or Twitter, if you still call it that, you can leave your comments, and we're going to have segments that are going to be set up for viewer comments. We're going to pop it up on the screen, and we're going to answer your questions when it comes to everything we got going on. So before we kind of get started, fellas, like I said, we left off at the bowl game, a nice little win. Some people upset with the season, but felt good that we ended at least with the win against Texas Tech.
Well, if you go back to the summertime and you start thinking about exactly what our expectation was for last season, I see why a lot of people were happy after we got a bowl win. 8 wins on the season. There's a lot of people who would have lost a lot of money in the summer had they bet on that. So I'd say I felt good at least finishing with 8 wins. I mean, no one likes having to go into the Liberty Bowl, but, it's better than no bowl. And, this offseason has been pretty decent as well. We've stacked up with a couple transfers. We hit the portal with the wide receiver position. I like some of the guys we got there, so I'm excited to talk about that here in a little bit.
Grant?
Yeah, I think Josh kind of hit it on the head. A lot of people came into last year or coming into this year, right, and said, hey, 4 wins, 3 wins, 5 wins, right? And so when you hit 8, you're like, okay, we're building something. But what's funny is that expectation changes after you get 4 or 5 wins in, right? Everybody's thinking, oh, we need 9 or 10, and we need this and that. Hey, everybody thought 4, we got 8. We're building the right way. Now we got to roll it into this year, and Josh hit on it. We're going to get on into some portal guys here later in the show and walk through who we think might be an impact player or not.
Yeah, so if you're wondering what's going on for today's show, we'll go ahead and take a look at it right now. This is our starting lineup for today, and we're going to give people what they want, all right? You want to know what these new transfers are going to look like. You can take a look right now. This is who is coming in, all right? So we're going to start picking up where we left off. I saw some very encouraging things in the bowl game that I'm going to talk about, especially with the young offensive lineman in what happens when you give Taylor Green a little bit more time to figure out this offense. Also, too, when it comes to Jac'Quan McRoy, 6'8", 375 pounds. I mean, this dude is a mammoth of a man, but we did see things on tape that kind of had us a little nervous. We're going to break that down. Corey Robinson, the offensive tackle transfer from Georgia Tech. We saw some good things on tape from him as well. So O-line trying to get a little bit better. We're also going to talk about transfer coming in, Omega Blake. They say they really like this guy. We may be able to have a little bit more film on him. We're kind of working through that. Like I said, it's our first live show. We'll see what we can get done for you. And then we got that transfer DB from Auburn. So Matt Harris can't be here with us today, but he did an amazing job with the breakdown when it comes to those guys. And so a big-time lineup. And like I said, Josh, you're going to touch on Omega Blake, and you got the offensive linemen, and Matt will handle the DBs. But now we're going to go ahead and start with me. You already know what I got going on. We got to get to this breakdown, all right? And it's going to be kind of the same thing, but a little bit more encouraging this time. Sometimes I know my theme doesn't pop off, I guess, optimistic all the time, but this is going to be pretty cool stuff that we see here on tape. So let's go ahead and hop right into my breakdown, as you can kind of see right here as we get it set up. We're going to start in this bowl game. You can see the time right now as we rock and roll. We're going to take a look at this offensive lineman. So this is Kobe Branham. All right, so a lot of people are very excited to see what this kid can do. He's playing right guard right now. And so let's go ahead and highlight him. And he showed a lot of stuff on tape that I was actually really excited about. You see the offensive lineman and the tight end, they're all kind of looking at themselves right now. They're looking at each other. This is a play that we used to have back in the day, and it was called, I don't want to say it. Just in case people are watching. Yeah. All right, I don't want to say it. All right, but we know what it is. They're indicating what they want to do right now. So based off the defensive line front, They make a call verbally, and then they get into the play. So you can see right here that tight end's going to block down. And right now I got the right tackle highlighted. He's going to come around and kick out this guy on the edge. And that leaves our guy, young buck, Mr. Branham. He's supposed to pull around and get this linebacker. All right, and so things I kind of look for right here is understanding what you're supposed to do, knowing where you're supposed to be, and then when you go ahead and take a look, as we go ahead and press play, great depth, great eyes at your target. And there were so many times last year, unfortunately, we would see offensive linemen pulling around and then kind of looking around, not sure where they're supposed to be. Not the case here. Very encouraging from a young guy moving forward. And as we kind of go ahead and keep the thing rolling, we like the contact right here. I talked to Grant about this, actually. He would love for his pads to be a little bit lower, but you know us, we're going to be nitpicky about everything. All right, let's go ahead and keep this thing rolling as we get to the next play. This is going to be the big run that almost went for a touchdown from Rodney Hill, but promising things once again. Let's go ahead and highlight the right guard again, Branham again, as he comes off the ball. This is what's going to happen. He's going to work a double team, all right? So him and the center are going to work up to the defensive tackle and try to get him up to the linebacker. And what we're about to show on tape is big time, all right? So you can see at the snap of the ball, Tesla comes in motion. And when that happens, it's going to make that linebacker float and flow more inside. Now it's going to make it very difficult for that right guard to get that block. As you can see right here, see the motion, he comes across, and you can see him looking at him, all right? So this is where it gets interesting, and this is where it gets awesome. So many times last year when this would happen, the offensive lineman would see their responsibility and say, uh-oh. Then they would turn around and try to go chase that guy, and that's not good. When you're running the opposite way from where the ball's supposed to go and try to make these blocks, it's just going to jumble everything up, okay? That's not what happens here. He understands, okay, I missed my assignment, but let me not make this play any worse than it has to be. So you can see right here, quickly shifts, gets the next guy available, and that ends up actually springing this play because Rodney Hill was able to find a nice little crease, and that block right there sets him off to the races. And then as we just take one more quick little look right here at him once again, he's going to be working this double team. And like I said, for him to be the first out and about right here, great contact. Now, Taylon Green held this ball, but just look, hat placement is where it needs to be, and giving Rodney an opportunity to make one guy miss right there in the hole if Taylon decided to hand that ball off. So pretty promising stuff from the young cat right there. And like I said, we'll take a closer look at this, but as we keep rolling, I just want to show this play, and I'll bring you guys in for this one. This will be a fun talk, all right? So this was a play in the game. We ended up scoring the very next play with that long touchdown reception to a guy that's no longer on the team anymore, but you see the personal foul get thrown, and it is on our guy Carmona, all right? So when they showed the replay right here, I thought this was very, very fascinating because you see the guy turn around, it looks like Carmona just comes and hits him in the back, okay? That's not the case right here. This is the same play, and we're going to highlight the guy that Carmona apparently hit in the back and had a penalty called. So you see him tracking right here. He makes the tackle, shoestring tackle, and now watch right here. He gets up, and then he starts to flex, all right? He's standing over Braylon Russell, and if I were to slow-mo this, you would see him even get closer and try to almost step over him, so he's kind of doing a low-key taunt. Carmona sees this, and he says, no, not on my watch. We're going to go ahead and set the tone on this one, and I absolutely love what he did right here of having his guys back and then letting them know we're not going to play that here today. So when it comes to that, guys, you have to be pumped up, about – I know he had a bad rap when he stepped on that guy. Was that in the same game?
Yeah.
I think it was the game. Okay. Game. So you can tell it was already getting a little bit chippy.
He was already pissed off.
Yeah, he was already pissed. All right. Yeah. But Grant, as an offensive lineman, it's your job to set the tone when it comes to physicality. But when a dude's standing over your running back, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at any football game across the board, right? High school, college, pro.
Yeah.
The offensive line are the enforcers, right? We're making sure that everyone's protected on the field, whether that's during the play or after. If you see a quarterback get hit late or someone hits him in his legs, who's the first people to show up? The offensive line's rolling in deep, right?
Yeah.
And so I love to see that from Carmona. That's that edge that we have from that we maybe been missing a little bit, is that toughness and that kind of that nasty that you want to see from an offensive line. So it's encouraging, I think, that maybe that senior leader's kind of bringing a little bit more of that, and the younger guys will take part in it as well.
Josh, and you being a receiver, Receivers have a role, too, of stepping up. You know, when we played, if anybody tried to start something like that or try to taunt Joe Adams, Jarius Wright, Greg Childs, they would set the tone as well.
Yeah, I feel like the receivers are the Doberman pinchers in this situation. The big mastiff just set the tone, and the Dobermans come in, and we just start barking. You got to have that type of mindset on the field, because if you don't come into every game thinking that, hey, this is a fight, you can't disrespect my teammates, you can't do anything that's out of line, we're going to play football. And if someone does do that, you better set the tone on it during the game clock, and then when the whistle is blown as well, to a limit. You don't want to do too much. Obviously, you're not trying to get into a fight with anybody, but there's a level of respect all players expect from one another. And when you get disrespected, you've got to step up and do something.
Yeah, set the tone. Can't be no punk out there. All right, ain't got no time for that. Let's go and hop back into the game film right here. All right, so now we're going to focus on Taylon Green. All right, and I really want to brag on him, because he is a guy that I admit I was on a lot this year. I just got very high expectations, and the cool thing about Taylon is he has those exact high expectations from himself. So many times getting the ball out late, having some problems with accuracy, not understanding where the pressure is coming from. What I saw and what you're about to see is what I think could potentially happen next year. Now you have given Taylon all these games to figure out the offense, get a good grasp. Then you give him a month of prep with Coach Petrino, and then he comes out here looking like a completely different player. Now just imagine a whole extra year of this, the potential that it has. So let's hop into this play. You can see right here, I highlight the running back. So they sent this running back in motion. A lot of people who understand somewhat of football, they understand you're trying to get indicators of what the defense is doing. So when he goes out in motion and no one follows him, you understand it's going to be a zone type of coverage, and you want to try to attack the middle of the zone. That's exactly what they're going to do with Isaac Tesla right here. Okay, so now the thing is, now that he understands, okay, I sent the guy in motion, nobody followed, it's going to be a zone, it's 1st and 10. Based off this look, he's going to be my number one target. However, when you get rolling, if that's the zone you want, you got this guy sitting right there in the middle of it. How do I open up this window to get this guy out? All right, I don't know. All right, so one thing that we talked about all year, Taylon had a very bad habit of staring down his targets. It was insane. I mean, it got to the point, if you go back to that Auburn game, you can see the linebackers literally just looking at Taylon, and as soon as he turned his head, they take off running in that direction because they know he's going to take them exactly where the ball is. My guy's learning a little something here. All right, so watch this right here. You can see we drop back pass right here, and you see this angle, right? I'm going to show you a better view right here from the end zone. So Taylon right now, understanding you need to move this guy. This linebacker is eyeing Taylon down. And look, as soon as Taylon gets the ball and he looks this way, watch this linebacker. This is pretty wild right here. He instantly turns his head and he's moving that way simply just because Taylon looked that way. That's next level. Taylon had no intention of throwing that ball that way at all. He just wanted to move that linebacker out of the way, and he did just that. Now, one thing that we got, look at this. Boom, shot open, opened up a window, linebacker out of place. Great play by Taylon Green. He wasn't doing that at the beginning of the season. Like I said, we had a lot of time to work. Another one that is cool right here, as Taylon is having an opportunity to kind of now, this is the only person that I'm in a battle with right now. Single high safety. It's a 1st and 10. This is the only person I need to manipulate. It's like a one-on-one matchup. Usually in football, you all got your one-on-one matchups, 11 on 11. Who's responsible for me? Taylon's responsibility is using his eyes to take care of the safety, all right? So you can see this play right here, the way it's set up. They understand that high safety is right there. Tesla is going to run this deep crossing route, but you need to get that safety out of the way. So how do we do this, all right? Taylon, once again, amazing with his eyes. He's going to go ahead and take this snap. When he drops back, look where he looks first, all right? He's going to look to the left. There's no one even over there, all right? And this is like next level stuff I'm getting at, y'all. He looks to the left because he understands I just need to keep that safety on that side of the field because I know Tesla is going across, all right? So as soon as he gets there, then he snaps his head, he locates his target, and then he lets go of the ball. And look right here as we go ahead and pause it. Look where that safety is now. The reason he is so far away from Tesla is because of what Taylon did as soon as he got the ball. He moved him with his eyes, and he opened up this huge space between that safety and now Tesla, who almost got a touchdown. You know, his toe tapped out right there, but he had a pretty cool celebration standing on his head. And let's get to one more play. All right, so this is the touchdown. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and let this roll because I want y'all to see the fluid of this play. Walking up to the line of scrimmage, making a check, getting it to the running back, and then he ends up going for a house touchdown. All right, taking it to the crib. All right, a lot of people think, oh, Coach Petrino's so awesome, he's doing his thing. Let's go ahead and roll this thing back. All right, that's not the case right there. This is what I've been looking for all year from Taylon Green. Okay, so another thing right here. The reason I feel like I can talk about this play because I know exactly what is happening. Grant, I can make the line check right now. I could call out what the check is right now, Josh, and y'all will all know what it is. So I'm not going to say it. So I said this in our teaser yesterday. We're just going to make up some names. All right. So the check here is Taylon's going to come up to the line of scrimmage, and he's going to go like this. All right. And we're going to call it Jimmy Blue, Jimmy Blue. All right. And the cool thing about this is all Taylon Green. This isn't a check coming from the sideline. It's not the running back saying this. It's not a receiver saying that. This is what he sees pre-snap, and he makes the call. So what exactly did he see pre-snap? Let's get into it. He looks to the left, and he noticed this guy that is over the third receiver. And as you see this third receiver, he is assuming, okay, I think this guy is going to blitz and not hold that guy man-to-man. If he blitzes, this is typically what happens. When you have pressure come off the edge, that automatically gives these other defensive linemen the freedom to now slant inside because their outside containment is now taken care of. And if that's the case, most of the time, the defensive end on the backside, who you can see is highlighted, is going to drop or be in some type of man-to-man. And if he's in man-to-man with a running back, you have to try to take advantage of that matchup. You know, high-caliber quarterbacks, they get pre-snap reads, and then if there is going to be man-to-man coverage, where's the mismatch on the field? And that's exactly what he saw, and he found and made the right check to get his running back in man-to-man coverage. So he sees this right here, all right? He's not going to run into a bad play. He comes up. You see him right now. Jimmy Blue, Jimmy Blue. He does his arm pumping right here, and you can see Tesla at the bottom, relays the screen. They move the running back out to the right, and so now it's all set up, all right? So the key now, if that defensive end has that running back in man-to-man coverage, I need to clear everyone else out and try to have the middle of the field just wide open for my running back to make one move, make a miss, and be wide open for a potential touchdown. But that Mike linebacker, once again, is going to be the key. He's going to be taken care of from that deep crossing route from the third receiver. And like I said, one-on-one, man-to-man, this is going to be called the angle route. Watch this little shimmy by the running back. Give me that. There it is. Nice little shimmy, completely wide open. You can take a little bit better look at the wide view of the concept. Man-to-man coverage. Taylon saw it from a mile away. Once again, all running verticals to clear everything out. Even that safety went with that deep third as well and leaves it with an easy, once again, throw and catch. And look at all that green space. That's called a house call right there. And the cool thing about it is it was all Taylon Green. So pretty special stuff like that on tape. It's very encouraging to see the advancement of what he's just able to do this entire year. And then you get into a nice little bowl game with an extra month to prep. I really expect some big things to come from Taylon Green. But guys, I mean, from week one to that, you have to be pumped up about what Taylon Green has been able to do. I mean, you as an offensive lineman, it's nice to have a quarterback who can see what's coming before it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it a lot in the shows post-game on Sundays and coming out on Thursdays and all those things. But the cool thing is you and I watched that Auburn film together.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see those
yeah.
linebackers. I mean, they're coached to do that. Hey, guys, 10 is going to show you where he's going with it, right? And that's
what you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be bad coaching for anyone else.
100%. And so you see it now. He has made that transition. He's got a month in. He's learning the offense. And to an offensive lineman's perspective, yeah, it's great because you're putting me in protections I can be successful in.
Yeah.
And that means the team's going to be successful. So it's really encouraging. Hopefully we keep building that this offseason and roll into next year on a high horse. No pun intended here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, we're going to talk more about Oaklawn here in a second. We got some special guests coming up. But Josh, once again, as a receiver, you know the difference between having a quarterback who's a field general and then somebody who he's trying to figure it out along with you.
Man, I needed a quarterback that was a field general
Yeah.
because I wasn't the type of wide receiver that was just going to outrun anybody. I needed a quarterback that could help me out a little bit and fake with his eyes, get the defense to move out of my way, clear my zone. Let me just sit down in the cover two, baby. I'm just going to get the first down and move the sticks. I'm not going to do too many crazy things after the catch. So, yeah, to see the growth out of him, to be able to do that. Now, you do that with skilled receivers all around the field.
Yep.
You're able to replace a lot of these guys that have left going into next season. You allow for Taylon to grow underneath the offense with Bobby Petrino, be able to help the offensive line out so he doesn't have to constantly run. And at the same time, be able to mentally play chess and move that defense around like you just showed everybody is going to be key, especially when you have talented guys out there and not guys like me.
No,
yeah,
man.
Josh, I'm not going to lie. I'm glad we had Mallet and those guys when you're there because I don't know if you could outrun me, brother.
No, I don't know if I could. Not in your prime.
Hey, real quick as we are rolling right now, don't forget we want you to be a part of the show. So when we start showing these breakdowns, if y'all have questions, now is the time to ask, all right? I see a lot of people saying welcome back, but now we have the ability to go ahead and pop up your comment on the screen, and we can address your questions live. You're going to hear the crowd here in a second. They got a big-time race going on.
Yeah, they do.
At some point, we're going to take you out to the track here at Oaklawn. Ponies are running.
Yeah, they are.
Let's see. Number 3 horse holding on for the win right
I'm
there.
not sure we made a big enough deal about being at Oaklawn.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. We got our representatives from Oaklawn coming in here in just a second. So very excited to, like I said, our partnership and the things to come. We're going to be real pumped up. All right. So
Absolutely.
we were talking about the quarterback situation and the players from the past. And once again, I want to remind everybody, if you are just now tuning in, what our lineup is here today. We're going to go through all these guys. We got a lot of guys coming in the portal, and a lot of people are interested of what to expect. So once again, we got all these offensive linemen. Are they going to be good or not so good? I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, things we saw on tape. We got a lot of work to do in the offseason.
There's some promising things.
Yeah, there's some promising, but we got a lot of work to do in the offseason. So that go ahead and brings us to Grant. We're going to go ahead and get to your breakdown as we're going to gear up talking about Jac'Quan McRoy. Hopefully I'm saying that right. 6'8", 375 pounds, behemoth of a man. And so y'all got to bear with me real quick, all right? So like I said, we're working through the kinks, all right? I need to get Grant's video ready, all right? So I just need to go ahead and pop this up on the good old monitor right here, and then we're going to go ahead and blow that up big for you. And so, all right, Grant, what are we looking at right now as far as this guy's concerned?
So DJ hit the nail on the head. I mean, 6'8", 375. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a mountain of a man.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. And, you know, they always talk about there's a few things you can't coach. Size and speed.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he's got the size.
Yeah.
He's there. And we're going to get into the first clip here. So this is what I'm going to highlight. He's pulling here. So he's at right tackle. He's highlighted there. He's going to come around and be the lead blocker for number 5, the running back, which, man, number 5's got to love this guy coming through the hole. So he's going to do what's called a skip, step, pull. All right. This is not an easy move for a smaller offensive lineman, much less somebody that's 6'8", 375. So you can see his outside foot kind of skips behind his body, and he's keeping him square to the line of scrimmage, which is what you want to do when you're pulling. You want to give that defense kind of really no heads up about where you're going to be. So as you see him, he's coming around here. He's going to pull through the hole. Like I said, man, look how big this guy is. I know you guys can see him on the screen. I mean, he is a head and shoulders above everybody else on the field. So he's coming through the hole here. One thing that I want to point out as we roll forward here is this is not great. All right. You're going to see as we get kind of a trend here, he is a straight leg player.
Yeah.
Right. And he's not real bendy. And when I say bendy, not flexible in the hips, not flexible in the legs, that is paramount, especially from a 6'8" offensive lineman. It's in, you know, you have to have it as an offensive lineman in general, but especially 6'8", 375. I mean, it leverages the name of the game when you play offensive line. So as we go back, you can see every bit of 6'8" is there. So he's getting stood up by high school talent at this point, right?
Yeah.
And not even a big guy, a linebacker. So like I said, we're gonna roll. You'll see some more issue. Now I know he just got a pancake, but let's not, you know, don't let it deceive you here, okay?
Yeah.
Once again, another pull play. So a lot of run plays, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing in these highlights that we saw. But all right, we're gonna run it here.
Yep.
This is kind of showing you the power that he's got. So we're highlighting him here, coming around, pulling again, and we're gonna see Jac'Quan here. 1 knockdown, 2 knockdowns. I mean, we're just racking up helmet decals. We are racking up helmet decals for Jac'Quan out here. But once again, kind of touching base, we really didn't see much pass pro out of his high school film. Not much film in college yet. He went to Oregon to start out. I don't know that he saw too much time on the field, but
I'll say this too, Grant. So I usually help out trying to get them the footage. I looked hours of tape and film of him from highlights in high school. I couldn't find one pass play.
Yeah.
All right. So in my defense, I tried my best. All right.
Oh, he did.
He got a lot of run blocking. we don't know if they ran every time or they just didn't put any pass plays on a highlight.
If I can run behind him, I'm running anytime.
Yeah.
True that.
All right.
That.
Let's get back to it, Grant. What we got?
Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna go to another run play, some high school film here still.
Yep.
And so what Jac'Quan's trying to do here is a down block. It's really kind of a double team with the guard up to this linebacker that's highlighted in red up here, this red dot. So I want to highlight his first step. All right. So what you would want to see here is that inside foot really take a strong step, J step, or even a pointed step, and knock this block onto the linebacker, or excuse me, onto the guard. But he steps with his outside foot. So what does that do? That immediately turns your shoulders, and now you're working up to the linebacker. He gets there once again, so big, so powerful. He just knocks this guy on the ground, so he's not really having to worry about his technique at this stage of football. But you got to know as an offensive lineman where the ball's trying to be carried. You got to know the design of the play. So what I want to see from him here is be on that upfield shoulder. When I say upfield, I'm talking about the shoulder that's on the right side of Jac'Quan's body here.
Yeah.
And so he kind of hits him more head up, right? And so what is this linebacker going to immediately try to do? He's trying to fight over the top of Jac'Quan. So in the perfect world, a running back has he's got to make one person miss.
Yeah.
Right. He's got to do his job. We're going to block everybody up, but you got to do your job.
Yeah.
So this guy comes across his face right here. Okay. So I'm talking, you got to finish. You got to finish. So here's our linebacker. There's Jac'Quan highlighted in red. There's our linebacker highlighted in red. If he finishes that block, hits that upfield shoulder, I don't see anybody else out there.
Yeah, it's to the house. It's to the house.
But let's play it on out and see what happens here.
Oh no!
Yeah,
they got to finish. You got to finish those plays.
You got to finish your plays. You got to finish your plays.
All right,
he gets mad there at the end too. You can see him kind of.
Yeah, he didn't like
one of those.
So this is where it gets interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So as we crank up this next part, you're gonna see, and there may be audio on this too. I did find some pass pro clips, Grant. All right. And the only way I could find them was going back to the high school All-American game, one-on-ones. All right. This is what coaches want to see. Mano y mano, man to man. What's it going to be? And now he's going up against some of the best players in the country.
Yeah.
Different ball game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. These are the guys, right? These are the guys that are going to be at the Auburns and the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world. So, all right, guys, here we are. So these are the pass pros that we found. All right. So first things first, I want to say, once again, we talked about not being bendy, right? So 6'8", you've got to be able to bend in your hips, bend in your knees. And really, you want to take that kick slide. He just shuffles his feet, really. There's no just real distinct kick slide here. So we'll play it to the next stop here. So what that is like when you don't have any bend in your lower half, when you're not squatting down to play and you're 6'8", these guys are going to be able to dip and rip underneath you. And that's what you see right here is this guy's coming, he's dipped his shoulder, he's ripping up underneath him. And, it's going to be hard to defend.
Yeah.
I mean, you're that tall. You really can't get down if you're not willing to bend. So you can see him get beat here. You really like to see him push that outside shoulder, but inevitably gets beat around the corner there.
Grant, what's the ideal height for an offensive lineman?
I mean, if you can bend as tall as you want, man. You got Dan Skipper, ex-Razorback, still playing for the Lions. He's 6'10".
Yeah.
But he, I know Dan personally, and I know he spent a lot of time trying to focus on being able to get down and play with leverage.
And we've played with a few big guys that don't take that part serious, and they can't move. It's like they're just stuck in the ground, no mobility, and like you said, low man always wins. And you have to at least, even if you can't get under a guy being 6'8", Grant, we get it. But just that power position changes everything. As soon as those legs are straight, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Yeah.
DJ,
all your athleticism's gone.
I remember when you were going to the NFL, one of the knocks on you was your blocking ability. They were trying to say that, you were a great receiving tight end, but you might struggle with blocking. But you said you were pretty darn good at blocking, and you felt it was because you got leverage.
I was in that thing. All right. I got low. I was a good bend in the hip. I took Pilates classes. Don't let that size fool you. Don't be no fool now. All right, Grant, let's go ahead and get back to it. All right, so here we go once again. Go ahead and pick up where you left off.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a little bit more of the same, right? And you're going to catch a theme here. So we're straight-legged, right? We're bending at the waist, all right? Look, guys, If you don't have any squat, any bend in your lower half, you have no ability to stop someone on a power rush. So this defensive end does what we call a long arm, which is essentially a bull rush with one arm. So he's using every bit of his ability and his length to get into your chest and drive you back. But if Jac'Quan had a little bit of bend here, he could hop that back foot and lock it down. But his hands, he can't get inside because he's bending over at the waist.
Yep.
And it's killing him.
All right. Once again, so 0 for 2 right now. We'll get to the third rep right here.
0 for 2. All right, guys. So the other thing I want to talk about when you're playing offensive line is first meaningful touch.
Yeah.
All right. That is the biggest thing. And that's all of football, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you're blocking anyone or whatever it may be, playing linebacker, playing defensive line, the first meaningful touch will win.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to show you an example right here of what I mean by first meaningful touch. And it's not Jac'Quan. So once again, all right, I'm going to pause it right here. We are straight legged and we're bent at the waist again. We're bending over like we're trying to pick a nickel up off the ground, right? And so, all right, we're going to play it here. And this is a great example of first meaningful touch. So I really wish I would have thrown some graphics. Now I'm sitting here looking at this, but I want you to look at that defensive lineman's body.
Yeah.
All right, in that black jersey and the white pants. All right, that is what I'm talking about by leverage. That is leverage to a T. I mean, if you took a picture of that and put it in the Webster's dictionary, that's a leverage. That is what leverage is, man. Hands inside. He's got a bend in his hips. He's got a bend in his knees, and he is fully extended underneath Jac'Quan right here. And we're going to see what happens when you get the first meaningful touch in the game of football. And that is a 6'8", 375-pound man being driven back.
Getting walked back. And that dude right there looks a little light in the pants,
240?
too. Yeah, he's about 240.
Yeah.
Now, probably pretty explosive. And so, I mean, so far what I've seen, now that we're playing with some big-time dudes, and we'll go ahead and take a look at another play. Actually, we'll show this next one, Grant, because you alluded to, like, once he does get his hands on you, then he has all that weight to go with him. So let's go ahead and show this last clip, all right? Whew. Yeah, that's a rough rep. Here we go.
So here you go. Once again, though, but I want to highlight this, right? He's got like a 45-degree angle at his waist. That is not what you want. You want to see that butt sitting down.
Yep.
Right? You want to see it sitting down. You want to see a little bit more upright posture from your chest and through your shoulders. But once again, he's a big man. He is going to be strong. So you can see a little bit right here whenever he gets his hands on somebody, he has the ability to finish. So I love that right hand right there. He's got it right up underneath the guy's ribs, right in his armpit. And you'll see, but we're straight-legged again, boys. We're straight-legged again. And then that's 375 right on top of it. You don't want that. You don't want none of that.
News, huh?
Yeah, you don't want none of that.
So, like I said, always take a guy 6'8", 375.
You can't coach it.
You can coach him. No, you can't coach 6'8", 375.
Can't.
How far off do you think this guy is from being able to compete at a high level and be trustworthy pass protection in the SEC?
Man, I'll tell you, I mean, 6'8", 375, that gets you a pretty good ways already, right? I mean, we just talked about it. The ability to skip, step, pull, and you can see his feet and his ability to run. There's some clips that he's running down the field. I mean, he is an athletic person. So I think he's got everything he needs. And I think Coach Mateos, I mean, he's got a project on his hands, but my gosh, if he gets it, if it clicks, I mean, the sky's the limit for that kid. I mean, you got King Dunlap and all these other guys that have been out there in the NFL that are that height, and they've been productive tackles for us. So, I mean, I think, you want to make sure that obviously we get him in. The strength and conditioning staff has to be on him about getting in there and getting mobility because that's going to be his best friend. But, yeah, I mean, I think Coach Mateos is more than capable of getting him right, and I hope he does. I'm interested to see him in spring practice.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of these viewer comments before we head to our first break. And you're going to understand sometimes with Josh, when it comes to numbers, we struggle. All right. Josh, he wanted to know 8 wins last season. Where did the 8th win come from?
I must be tripping. For some reason, I tallied them up, and I was like, wait, with the ball game, I thought that was 8.
Spring game. Yeah. We didn't have a spring game last year. All right. Okay. Thanks for keeping us on our toes there. Pretty fun stuff. Let's get to another one right here. This is a good one right here. What's the number one key or thing that has to go well to get into the playoff? Whoa. We talking about playoffs already? Wow. Good question though. A lot of people do want to know what is it going to take to get to that point. And fellas, I mean, I hate to say it because this goes against everything that I was raised in and born in, and what I was brought up in is got to pay these guys. And not only you got to pay these guys, you got to go the extra mile to make sure you're paying the right guys. You know, I don't think it necessarily comes down to all about talent. You need the talent in character. If you got a guy who has the best talent in the world, then we got some character issues as far as commitment and all this stuff. I'd pass on them, you know, and now that's going to take a lot more due diligence from a coach doing their homework or a GM doing their homework. It's just the landscape of college football right now, and it's just a mess, and it's going to require that much more from a program to make sure that you get the right guys. But Ohio State bought themselves a national championship last year, all right? A lot of teams bought themselves into a playoff last year, and so unfortunately, that's what it's going to take, but over-the-top player personnel management has to be phenomenal and find some diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you know, I think to that, finding the diamonds in the rough in the portal and finding those guys and paying them enough money, but you also have to have enough money to keep the players there that have been in the program.
Yeah.
You know, I think you've got to keep a foundation. So if you go get these guys and you keep them 1 year, then everyone leaves again, and you restart.
Right.
I mean, you're starting over with essentially a freshman class every single year. Now, these guys got experience elsewhere, but not in your system, not in your program. And so I think that we've got to figure out a way to maintain the baseline of people that we have and then back out and find the guys that we need to complement the people that we've got on that foundation.
Right.
Josh?
Grant, Coach Calipari, basketball coach, had a cool quote that I read or watched the other day, but he said, it's not about who I can go get. It's about who I can keep and who I can retain on this roster. And the same thing applies to football, especially today in the NIL world. What we're looking at is it's professional sports. I don't care if it's still considered collegiate sports. It's still it's professional now because of the way that we've allowed money to come into this situation. And you can't blame a kid who's 18 years old, who might not have ever made any money. Maybe his family doesn't make that much money, whatever this, even if his family makes tons of money, it's his opportunity to make a lot of money for himself. And money's in the equation now. And when you're going after the top tier talent in the country, your university has to be able to compete with Alabama, with Texas A&M, with Georgia, with Florida, with LSU in order to get these guys. Now, after we get that talent on the field, well, then coaching matters. But you can't coach a horse that's not as fast as the other horse. You just can't.
Yeah.
We have to take into the account that plays into it. And so you start looking at it from a business aspect. And DJ, we've talked about this offseason where we've talked about, look, I think Arkansas needs to take this GM perspective where it's truly just a football director of personnel guy and the coaches coach whatever he puts on the field. But that way the relationship with the player and the coach doesn't get tainted, because guess what? The same guy's cutting everybody's checks. So when a player comes to a head coach and says, hey, coach, I want to make more money this offseason. That's what I want to do. Well, go talk to him, because I'm just your coach.
Yeah.
You know, when you start intertwining money and who's coaching you at the same time, that's where things get messy. And I think that's why the NFL is set up the way that it is. Everybody's on somewhat of an equal playing field, but that's the way college sports is today. So it's recruiting, it's NIL, but it's coaching all in the same time. But you got to start somewhere. And that means you start with money in the offer that you're getting to these kids. And until we solve that equation, we're probably not going to be able to compete at the highest level.
All right, y'all, let's get to our first break. One more comment. Big Z is up watching. Zamal Thomas says, Josh Throne, get your boy. I don't know what that means, but we'll take it anyway. I love Big Z. And so once again, we're just here at Oaklawn as we get set to take our first break. Very excited for the partnership we got going on with them and everything moving forward as far as good old Oaklawn here at 4th and 5. All right, we're going to get to our first quick break. And when we come back on the other side, Matt Harris is joining us via recording to talk about those DBs. He's going to have the breakdown when we return. All right, we'll see you right after. All right, everybody, welcome back in as we are set with, hold on a second, where's my guy? Oh, look at me, I'm slacking. Hey, it's the first time we've done this, all right? We're working on it, yeah. Back at it at Oaklawn here as 4th and 5 podcast going first live stream. Bear with us as we try to figure all this out. But very excited now to have Zach Gillum here with us with Oaklawn Sports when it comes to the betting. Zach, first of all, I'm even pumped up we're even here. I was a little worried, with the weather and everything going on.
It was a very exciting week.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we are here. We're thawed out now. We're able to have this wonderful day. You see all the people in the main line enjoying a great day for Rebel Stakes. We have sports betting going on. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys were able to come join us.
Yeah, speaking of sports betting, like I said, we had fun as you were. I wish Josh was sitting in here right here because he still doesn't understand anything. My girlfriend, Ebony, huge fun better when it comes to fun parlays and stuff. So many interesting things to go on. But before we get into that, we had a big game last night. Arkansas men's Razorback basketball team did their thing at home against Missouri. Was looking a little shaky earlier, Zach, but when it comes to the odds, the big question is, are the Razorbacks going to make it to the NCAA tournament? What's that look like?
Yeah, so looking at the odds right now, before the Missouri game, minus 115 on the yes or the no.
Yep.
After beating Missouri now, the yes minus 250.
Yeah.
So what that tells you is you're going to have to put up $250 to profit 100, which means it's more likely now, at least according to the betting odds, that Arkansas will make that field of 68 after that Missouri win.
Yeah, big time moving right there. And once again, the odds are sometimes tricky for a lot of people, and I get it. But the thing is, it's pretty easy to, I guess, digest when you say the 100 thing. How do you explain it to me if you bet 100?
Yeah, and so what that is that's referred to as American odds. So
Yep.
Over in Europe, they'll use decimal, they'll use fractional odds. Here in horse racing, we use fractional odds. You see 7-2, 9-1. Well, in sports betting, we use what we call American odds. And the reason we do that is we try to tie everything back to 100.
Yep.
So looking back at 100, if it is a plus, that is telling you how much you would profit if you bet $100.
Yep.
If it's a minus, that's how much you have to wager to profit $100.
Yep.
So you really want to look for that minus and the plus, and then everything ties back to 100.
Yeah, everybody. So I think the hardest thing is for people to understand the spread.
Yeah.
Ebony was just like, I don't understand their +8, but that means they have to win or at least lose by 9. She was all over the place. Explain that to us, would you?
Yeah. So the spread, I don't have the exact date, but back in the day, and I mean, think of games where, teams are 40-point dogs.
Yeah.
On the money line, that would be minus 100,000. It would not be worth trying to bet the favorite in that instance.
Yeah.
So someone came up with a spread or a handicap. And what we do is in those games where it might be a little lopsided,
Yeah.
we'll try and give you a point spread. Hey, we think this team is 16.5 points better. So they're going to have to win by 17 points.
Okay.
And that's going to get you odds closer to even money, closer to that plus 100. Typically, you're going to see minus 110 on those two-way spread markets. And what that means is you wager 110 to profit 100.
Okay. I like it. Another thing that we want to kind of get into is introducing people to the app. I got introduced this year. What we're working on, I don't know if I should say this live, but I'll do it anyway. Hopefully one day we have a little promo code with 4th and 5 to give people some little incentives for. We actually talked about that before. Maybe one day.
Something in the works.
But there is opportunities right now if people sign up for the first time to take advantage of bonus bets, right?
Correct. Yeah. So new users right now on your first deposit, you can earn up to $1,000 in bonus bets. That takes place over your first 10 days of being active.
Mm-hmm.
You're active once you make a deposit. You can get up to $100 each day. So the reason we're doing it that way, spreading it out over 10 days, is there might not be enough today that you want to bet $1,000.
Yep.
But over the course of 10 days, there might be. So we just want to get you in, get you used to the app. We're confident once you get in and see how easy it is to use Oaklawn Sports, whether it's funding, whether it's how deep the wagering market is, the live betting that we have, it's by far the best app in the state. And we think once you get in, you will agree with us.
It's fun, easy in and out, have a blast with it. I will say this, too, as we are talking with Zach Gillum here at Oaklawn when it comes to Oaklawn Sports. Coming up here in just a second, Matt Harris is going to do the breakdown on the defensive backfield in the new addition, the guy we got from the portal, Caleb Wooden from Auburn. And so, once again, we're kind of breaking down all these guys we got coming in. That's coming up here in just a second. But before we get to that, Zach, there is a difference, though, because we're here at Oaklawn at the Rebel Stakes, right? Sorry if you said it already. Oaklawn Sports just for sports, but Oaklawn Anywhere is for the races, correct?
Absolutely. And you're nailing something that's really good to cover. So
Yeah.
we get a lot of people that download Oaklawn Sports looking for Oaklawn Anywhere, download Oaklawn Anywhere looking for Oaklawn Sports. The difference is fixed odds versus parimutuel. So Oaklawn Anywhere offers parimutuel wagering. That's offered on thoroughbred racing, which we have here today at Oaklawn.
Yep.
It's offered on some greyhound tracks. It's offered on harness racing. So that's where you're going to see the pari-mutuel. And then for Oaklawn Sports, that's going to be fixed odds sports betting. And while there are some markets that offer fixed odds on horse racing, we keep that to pari-mutuel. So we keep it separated. And in the fixed odds side, we're looking at football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, darts, lacrosse.
Ping pong, is that on there?
Ping pong. We call it table tennis, but yes, ping pong. You want to bet it? There's actually live matches right now.
Yeah, it's like so many different things, and it is fun. So Oaklawn Anywhere for the horse races, Oaklawn Sports for the sports betting. We're here at the Rebel. We'll have a chance, hopefully, to talk to Nancy Holtis here in a little bit, everything going on. But what are some big days coming up for people if they want to come out to Oaklawn and see it all in person?
So really from here out, I feel like every weekend is a big weekend. There's something going on. The infield, with the weather being good, will be open. You're going to have events in the infield, food trucks. There's going to be some fun contest out there as we approach Derby Day. Then we have big races. You know, obviously today, the Rebel Stakes, that leads us into the Arkansas Derby. There's some other older handicap campaigns. There's some sprint campaigns, filly and mare campaigns. So the racing continues to go. We have the Arkansas Breeders' Championship.
Oh, yeah.
It is going to be phenomenal. And then we have March Madness coming up.
Come on now.
So, I mean, March Madness here in the main line, there in the sports book, here at Oaklawn, this is going to be the place to be. You have about 5-6 different places to watch it. Obviously, you have many ways to bet it, whether it's through the app, at the sports book. Here behind us at the main line, we'll open up for March Madness. So it's going to be a wonderful time here over the next 2 months.
Yeah, and the partnership that we're continuing to build with Oaklawn, the opportunity for 4th and 5 to come out, do more live shows here in Mainline. I'll try to here in a second kind of show you exactly what we got going on. I'll have a camera going out there so you can see the vibe that's going on here. A perfect place to come out, watch a lot of games, enjoy the atmosphere. They got a great bar, great people, great food. They got it all here at Oaklawn. All right, we're about to go ahead and get to Matt's package. Zach, thanks so much.
Absolutely.
We know you got a super busy day. Real quick, one place they can go to learn more about Oaklawn.
So go to either oaklawn.com. That has everything you want to know about Oaklawn. It also has information for Oaklawn Anywhere, for Oaklawn Sports. If you're looking for Oaklawn Anywhere or Oaklawn Sports, you can go to the iOS App Store or the desktop websites.
You hear everybody cheering right now. We got race 5 coming in right now. It looks like the 7-horse pulling away at the end. So if you bet it on 7 in the 5th race, that is the maiden special weight. You have a good chance to take home a little bit of money.
You guys starting to learn some of that stuff too?
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started. When Nancy's going to come on here, she's going to be speaking Chinese. All right. I don't know what she says. The maiden, the gilded. I did learn what gilded is.
Gelded.
Yep. That didn't seem so fun if you're a horse. All right.
No.
I'm learning a little bit more about the terminology. So, Zach, appreciate you. We'll check back in with you a little bit later, and we got more representatives from Oaklawn that's going to join the show. But for now, let's go ahead and now get to that breakdown. Matt Harris is in Dallas. He couldn't make it out here, but he's going to have everything you need to know when it comes to expect from our secondary. We had a couple guys leaving, and he's going to have a breakdown on one of the guys coming in. All right, we'll go ahead and get to this.
Want to jump right into it, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
State of the union and the defensive backfield for Razorback defense. Who did we lose? Who did we get? What can we do better, right? So let's just jump right into it. TJ Metcalf, dagger. Really liked 1-8. We're gonna miss him. Same thing for Jalen Braxton. 2 really good players. Proven SEC defensive backs, not easy to do. But I will say, I want guys that want to be in our locker room. So, good luck to them. Wish them both the best of luck. But we're moving on. We got a locker room of talented guys, and let's just dive into who we got. So we lost a safety, need a safety, right? It makes sense. But little concerned about that area right there. We did get Caleb Wooden. He is an Auburn defensive back, safety. So I like the SEC standpoint. A lot of people are excited about him. I am too. But he just doesn't have a lot of tape. So we'll see, right? Spring, the dogs come out. Right, I remember every spring, every year, we'd get JUCO guys, we'd get transfers, we'd get freshmen to come take your spot, and the coaches would let you know about it. And I always had a motto that it ain't gonna be me. It ain't gonna be me. You can take his spot, but you ain't taking my spot. And that made me better. That makes the team better. That competition. So Caleb Wooden, come in there, man. Push these guys. Whoever's there thinking they're gonna get the start, go compete for it. You got to earn it. You know what that SEC patch is all about. So Corners. We stacked up on corners. I feel really good about our corners, our edges there. Connie Walker, big guy from OU, 6'2", 206. Jordan Young, he's a Florida cat. Love them Florida boys. 6'1", 200. These guys are bigger than me when I was playing safety, right? These are ideal corners. I like big corners, all right? Like the 90s song, I like big butts, and I cannot lie, all right, Josh? I know you like that. I like big corners. But the irony, the one I want to dive into and run some film on and break down and talk to, is our guy Keyshawn Davila, all right? He's already got Davila in his name. He's the #1 JUCO corner. And I know JUCO, right? Like, guys, he's the #1 JUCO corner for a reason. He had 9 PBUs and 3 picks last season. He only played in 9 games. That's a good stat line. So let's jump in and see what he's really about. The film don't lie, baby. Ball don't lie, film don't lie. All right, let's dive in here, Josh. First play, he's on man off here. He's backpedaling. He's reading the quarterback's eyes. You can see his hips. Watch his feet. Watch his eyes. His hips and his feet are just happy feet, man. He's got great feet, great hips. And then he goes back, he puts his hands up, he makes a play at the ball. So great feet, great hips, great hands, great awareness. And then he's got the speed to take it all the way pick 6. That's a really heady play by a corner. So really love that first play. All right, let's jump into this next clip. Press, man. Let's see what he does. All right, I like for him to get his hands on him, but he's not in a press cover 2, so you got to be careful with being too aggressive in a man situation. You can tell it's man because he's running with this guy across the field. Again, when the quarterback's not throwing you the ball and you have to make, it's all angles. It's trigonometry to get really defensive back nerdy on you. The fact that he can get off the man, make the play that the receiver was supposed to make, right? You hear coaches say it all the time. Hey, when the ball's in the air, you have every right to it. Go be the receiver. It's easier said than done. The fact that he's out there being the receiver and putting his hands on the ball, hey, I want complimentary football. And this guy's going to give us an opportunity, I think, to produce some turnovers and get our offense excited. Y'all, this may be my favorite clip. Bam! Woo! Let's rewind that, boy. Let's rewind that. You're coming to the SEC. He's off. He's in the slot again. He's got his eyes on that quarterback. He knows what's coming. And bam, that receiver doesn't, baby. I love it. You get a ooh hit and Donald W. People are going to remember you, DeVille. Let's go, baby. I like seeing physical corners. I like big butts. I like big corners. And I like big hitters. Let's go, Hogs. I'm not fired up. You're fired up. All right, and our last clip here, y'all, I'm really digging this. Think about the versatility, right? People overestimate just a good deep ball corner, right? This guy has been in the slot, he's been outside, he's been press, he's been off. Now he's in the slot, press man, and he's going on a corner blitz. He avoids this left tackle or pulling tight end, either way, a guy much bigger than him, to go in there and make the play. This guy seems like a playmaker. You don't just get the #1 ranking on accident. So we've seen him take it to the house. He's got great hands, great feet, great hips, great speed. It's the SEC. We're going to test his mettle for sure. But everything that I've seen on this film, I'm really excited about my boy Keyshawn. Welcome to the Hogs, man. You're a Razorback for sure. I'm excited to watch this guy, and I hope we are too. So, okay, so loving Keyshawn, right? I'm really excited about a handful of guys. But at the end of the day, this is just old ball players talking about new ball players. So I'm really excited. One thing I'm really upset about, guys, is we lost not 1 but 2 in-state safeties to OU. That's inexcusable, right? How can we improve this? Keep those guys at home, right? Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Something's got to happen with the state of our state. We got to build that wall, man. We got to keep those guys in there. One of those guys was a 4-star in Little Rock. The other one in Bauxite. Like, these are Razorbacks that we missed on. We lost TJ Metcalf. We needed a safety, and we lost 2 of them in state. Pretty upset about that. But I will say it's spring ball. People don't know, but spring ball is kind of awkward because you're competing, right? People are like, yeah, he's my backup, but he's trying to beat me out every day. And you may live with the guy. You see him, you have dinner with him, and he wants to take your spot. I mean, competition at that level is cutthroat. They'll talk bad to you before practice, after practice. I'm coming to get your job. I almost got in a fight when I earned my starting job my junior year I won't name names. He tried to fight me on the film when I'll never forget taking my first team reps. Tried to fight me on the field because I was taking his job in the spring, because that's where jobs, they rotate guys left and right. So we're going to get a look at Connie Walker, Jordan Young, Keyshawn Zavilla, Caleb Wooden. You're all going to get your shot, and everyone's going to talk to you, and they're going to let you know if you're not doing good or not, and so will the coaches. So it's a unique time, right? Iron sharpens iron, right? It's always a team locker room mentality, but some guys don't make it, man, and you never know who it is. So it's all about one thing, and it's competing. It is who's got that dog in them. And how do you get that dog, Josh, DJ, Grant? Coaches are a big part of that. We got a new coach in Nick Perry, defensive back coach. He's a former Bama safety. He's got experience at the professional level. I like him, right? Marcus Woodson is still there. He's co-defensive coordinator with T. Will. They were together at Auburn. The more, camaraderie that coaches have, players can feel that, right? When we had that Houston Nutt and Petrino switch, it was awkward. The coaches were new, the players were new. There was Nut players and Petrino players, and it was an awkward locker room until that second year, and we started to really jive. We're not going to have to mess with that this year. The coaching staff's together, at least from a defensive back perspective. We did add Nick Perry, who's got some experience and some youth. So I'm really excited. Spring ball is going to be, I'm fired up, man. We're Razorbacks, right? We didn't get any 5 stars. We're going to have to dig deep. We're going to have to throw some forearm shivers out there. Who wants it the most? I'm really pumped to see 2025 season. We weren't supposed to go to a bowl last year. We weren't supposed to go to a bowl. And here we are talking about how good we're going to be this upcoming year. I like the momentum we're going with. I wish we got some better safeties. I'm really fired up about our corners. But all in all, y'all, defensive backs, best friend is also a defensive end. So we'll get into that later. I think the state of the defense is in great hands with Coach Williams, T. Willie. He knows what he's doing. He's a player's coach, it seems like, but he's a disciplined coach. And I like his defenses. He mixes it up. He's really creative. So, all in all, I wish I was there with you guys in Hot Springs. That corned beef, oh my Lord, Oaklawn. You can't beat Oaklawn. So cheers to you guys. Miss you very much. One of these days we'll get back together again and live, and hopefully we'll do it in Oaklawn. So until then, go Hogs.
Oh, man, you always got to love when good old Matt Harris is in the house. Love what he said about the DBs, and you had a chance to talk with him a little bit more about everything going on when it comes to the defensive backfield. Anything extra he kind of added that we didn't have time to fit in?
We were talking previously, before I even recorded with Matt, we were speaking about Caleb Wooden, the Auburn safety that's coming over. And I think everybody's just naturally excited about a transfer from an SEC school. After visiting with Matt, he kind of reframed my perspective. He was like, well, look, if he wasn't all that good and didn't really have that much film for us to review at Auburn, what's to say he's going to be any different here at Arkansas?
Yep.
And so he then goes, hey, I'm more excited about this JUCO guy, Keyshawn Davila.
Yeah. And
you start watching him on film, and he does have really quick feet, and he is getting to the ball fast, and he is very reactionary. He's got good instincts. So I think that if Matt knows what he's talking about, and I believe he does, I'm excited to see how he actually pans out for us next season.
Hey, it's fun because a group right over to the left of us, they're Auburn fans, and they said, what's going on over here? I said, we're doing a little podcast about this, and they said, anything about Auburn? I said, we're going to be talking about potentially the transfer that came in. They said, oh, good riddance. They weren't worried about it at all. They said, good luck. All right, so interested to see how much these people get paid. That's one thing I would love to change, transparency and how much these people get paid.
Yes.
Is that me being nosy, or do you think we should know?
No, that creates an open market where you know what your value is, you know how to negotiate. There's no gaming the system. There's not one coach, trying to pull the wool over the eyes of another player. It's like, here's your performance. Here's what the tight ends make across the league. And here's where you line up to that. And then that gives you your dollar value. And then obviously teams that are in more need can get a little bit more aggressive with a lesser value tight end because they just need that guy or whatever. But it creates a very understandable, fair market value for everybody.
Yeah, I get it. All right, let's get to our next breakdown. And yes, we got to talk about the offensive line. And Grant, once again, we talked about Jac'Quan McRoy. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. We're working on it. All right. Excited that he's big, I'm hesitant to say we got a huge draw out of the portal. Now, this next guy, a little bit more tenured.
Yep.
He's had a couple more reps, feel a little bit better about his potential. And we're talking about the transfer from Georgia Tech. Talking about the transfer from Georgia Tech. Sorry, Corey Robinson. Somebody just got distracted for a second. Grant,
live show.
Yeah. So, what do we got going on with this guy? What were your first initial thoughts about him?
Yeah. So, you did a really good job explaining it, but essentially he's older guy, been in a tenured program, right? I mean, Georgia Tech is historically a ACC program, good, big program.
Yep.
Talented, right? Played enough, played reps, started, all those things. So, you're a little bit more excited about a guy like that that's got more film out there and you can see, but also there's some things we're obviously concerned about, right?
Yep.
We are not the podcast of everything's going to be great. These all,
No.
we want to be real. And so, as ex-players looking at things and saying, hey, I don't love this, I do like that. And we'll get into it. There's a few things, but I am excited about him. I think he's going to bring some depth to the offensive line. We've got some guys here. We were able to retain Carmona and Branham. We went over Branham earlier. So we've got some pieces there. I think getting him out of the portal is a good one. So we'll pick it up right here. And so Corey here is, Georgia, right? These are the guys we're going to be
they're
playing
dudes.
against.
They got some dudes.
That's
This ain't
exactly
that high school tape. These are some dudes.
That's right. This is the group that we're going to be playing against. So we got him highlighted here, and we're going to be working a little combo block up to this linebacker. So you can see that linebacker there. So first step, can't really see from this angle, but him and the guard are going to be double teaming up to this linebacker. So short yardage situation. So you're not as worried about getting to the second level. But if this wasn't a short yardage scenario, and this is something that, hey, we're trying to open this gap up and the quarterback or running back's trying to run through it, I don't love that his shoulders are turned immediately.
Yep.
You want to stay square. We talked about with Jac'Quan a little bit and some of his film. As offensive lineman, you want to cover up color as much as possible. What he's done here is essentially said, hey, linebackers, the ball's coming right behind my butt.
Yeah.
And so you can see these guys start flowing downhill really, 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 really fast. Luckily, it's a short yardage scenario. But if we go back to the tape here, it kind of gets all wadded up. Like I said, they're trying to get a yard, so you're not as worried about it. But if that's something that you see throughout the season, I don't stay square. I start turning my shoulders. I turn my hips. I let my eyes deceive me. That could end up being a problem.
Well, you said throughout the season, we just saw it happen more than enough times in this game film alone.
Yeah,
game film alone. So probably a bad habit that he needs to break.
Yeah.
Why would an offensive lineman do that? Because he was, I think, ranked one of the top tackles coming that was in the portal that we got. So obviously he knows what he's doing. What would have him create bad habits like that? Because I'm sure the coach over there at Georgia Tech's not sit and say, hey, don't worry about it.
Anything really. It could be a plethora of things, but I think you think, okay, as an offensive lineman, if I have to down block on this guy, turning my shoulders and really getting all my weight behind it's the way to do it. But when you come together with that guard, right, or you come together with that center, and you got your hips are together, you're both pushing in the right direction. So essentially, you're in a V.
Yeah.
Right. You're pushing against each other.
Yeah.
So I want to see it. I think once again, talented guy. I think we can do this. So, all right, got another clip right here. It's a little bit of pass pro. So I can't really tell exactly where that guy's lined up on him, but he takes a pretty short set.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He does a really, really good job. And I talked about it all year with our tackles and any offensive lineman, always taking half the man away.
Yep.
You want to take that inside half away and make him declare himself as an outside contained rusher. It's just going to help you. So next deal here. So really, 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 really good hand placement here on the inside half. Now we're a little straight leg. We saw it with Jac'Quan too. Not too much bend, right? But hands inside, got his arms extended here, and he's taking away the half of that man. You can see that defensive lineman wants to fold back underneath, but he knows he can't because I got that strong hand stuck in there on his chest plate. So, that's a great rep right there against, once again, very talented group of defensive linemen. So here we go. This is what I talked about a lot this year, right?
Yeah.
Oversetting people.
Yeah.
When I say oversetting, setting flat, not taking the inside half away and allowing them to make up their mind on where they wanted to brush.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you want to do. You want to give them as little of options as possible.
Yep.
That's just going to help you. They're fast. They're more athletic than us.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
So, and I'll tell you too, it's hard to kind of say this without. We're working on the ability for Grant to have his own little space to break down some offensive plays for us. But what he's saying like that when it comes to setting flat. So sometimes you see an offensive tackle, right? And you see way outside of him a defensive end. And so one would think, oh, I got to go block this guy. Let me get out to him. What that does is creates so much space for that defensive end to go in or go out. You got to cover it all, and you got to be extremely athletic to make that happen. But if you just set back like he's saying, you have to understand the quarterback's right here where Josh is, right? He can run all the way around if he wants to, but he has to come through me. So it's about a game of angles. Would you all say
it's
that?
geometry.
Yeah,
geometry. It's geometry, man. We're just talking about angles and all that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I got what you want.
Yeah.
You want the quarterback, and I got him.
Yeah.
And so how do I do that? How do I intersect your path to the quarterback, right? Well, I'm not going to jump out there and go get you because now I've given you way too many options.
Yeah.
I got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, if I set vertically, I don't have to be as perfect. I've got a lot of room between me and you, and I know you've got to come through this wall to get to what you want behind you, right? And so we'll jump to the clip. I mean, and Corey does an unbelievable job right here. So he's got this stand-up linebacker out here, and that dotted line, watch what Corey does, stays right on that hash. He's setting vertical. He knows where the quarterback set point is. It's taken away. Now, the one thing I would like to point out here, and if I'm going to say one thing negative, finish the block.
Yep.
Finish the block. He does not know that these two guys that are chasing the quarterback are behind him. It's, for what he knows is the ball's about to come out, quarterback's clean, everything, and we'll play it right here. You'll see he just kind of lets that block fade away. Now, if those other two guys aren't rushing, he gets there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He gets there.
Yeah.
And
How hard is that sometimes when you feel like, okay, the ball should be out by now?
Yeah, everybody's got a clock.
Yeah, you got a clock. Okay, we should be good. But
yeah, everybody's got a clock. But you can tell when you're playing offensive line by the intensity of the rush.
Yeah.
If the ball's out, he sees the ball go, he's turning, he's going to run downfield. But if he's still fighting like hell to get down there and get to the quarterback, you know, like, all right, something's not right. The timing is off. DJ didn't get open fast enough.
All right, here he is. He's lined up at left tackle already.
Yeah, left tackle. So another clip here of a pass set.
Ooh.
So one thing I want to point out, all right, if we go, you can see he's got guard help. All right, he's got inside help. Corey has a tendency to, we talked about it earlier, turn his shoulders and stay too incorporated in a block.
Yeah.
All right, we don't love that. Because if he's got inside help, hey, pass that thing off, man. Let that guard take care of your business, take care of your lightweight, and let me keep my eyes outside.
That was something we struggled with a lot this year.
I've talked about it a ton of times. If something goes away, something's coming to you.
You know, we got to put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, we should. We'll sell 1 million of them. So next thing is, all right, yeah, here we go. We got him right here again.
Getting to the next play. There we go.
Getting same in the next play here. So same thing, right? All right, taking the inside half of the man away. So what do we got here? May overset a little bit. Right? You got to know where your guy's lined up, what he's trying to do. And I think we get beat inside here. Yeah, we got beat inside. Now, it didn't end up being affected the play, but we had some issues there, right? Always take that inside half away.
Now, this next one, as you kind of talked about again, Grant, same thing's popping up on tape. And for the life of me, how many times did we talk about it's slide pro? It's so hard to mess this up. All right.
Yeah.
A few times now we have seen a few times. It's like he's making this a lot harder than it has to be for him in this slide pro. This clip right here.
Yeah. So we'll get into it right now. So here he is, left tackle again. So watch the guard. The guard's eyes. He's got inside help. Corey has inside help. All right. Here comes this guard. He's helping him out. Now, Corey stays incorporated at that defensive end.
Yep.
And what's going to end up happening here is this linebacker's flowing over the top. Well, that's Corey's gap. He's got the furthest man outside. So when he folds over, he's still incorporated inside this block. I think we zoom in here in a second and kind of show what we're talking about. But, see, he's still incorporated in this block, and the guard should have him taken over.
So he just committed to that. He's supposed to still maintain outside leverage and pick that up.
You want to punch that thing off to the guard. Because look what happens here is this linebacker that should be picked up by him flows over. If that ball's not out, that's a problem. And hey, I want to point out something. I think we got a graphic over the top of the score and everything. That's the 5th overtime.
Yeah.
It's 40 to 42. They got to have this.
Yeah, that was a must. Let's not mess this one up.
This is if we're going to get it right, we got to get it right on this play.
Yeah.
All season.
So when it comes to this kid, what are your overall thoughts? I mean, I would say I feel better about him than I do Jac'Quan, even though Jac'Quan's a monster as far as development is concerned. This kid's further along.
Yeah.
And you said there is a difference, too, about having – he seems decent at pass pro. Would you rather have him left tackle or right tackle? Jac'Quan left tackle or right tackle? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, we got Carmona still, right? So
the thing is, what I've heard is that they've been experimenting moving him in.
Okay.
I have heard. And even as far as center, I've even heard that. Now, we got a transfer coming in from, I believe, UCF, who is a center. But I will even think with Carmona's stature, to me, kind of fits a guard perfectly at the next level. 6'5", kind of maybe 6'5", good stature, can get under his pads. So let's just say if they move him in, then you got these guys on the outside. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Corey's got to go on the left side. I mean, you know, that's the blind side, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows, seen the movie. And so you got to protect the quarterback's blind side. I think Corey has the pass pro ability to do that, where we looked at the clips of Jac'Quan. I don't think he's quite there yet.
Yep.
And then on the strong side, the right side is probably where more of your runs are going to go. That's his strong suit. He's a bulldozer, right? I mean, he's a big cat bulldozer. Is going to be mowing people down over there. So I think if that's the two we're living with, then I think you got to go with Corey on the outside on the left and Jac'Quan on the right side, and let them both do what I think they do best.
All right, y'all. That's good stuff from Grant. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have a little Spitfire from Oaklawn named Nancy Holtis. She's going to join us. And I'll tell you, this girl right here is a personality. She comes on our radio show on The Buzz, and her open song is Pony by Genuine. All right. So if it tells you anything about Nancy, she's a good time and very fitting since she knows everything when it comes to these horses. So if you know nothing about racing horses or anything, stay tuned, because after this break, she's going to educate you. It may take a few times because I'm still trying to figure it out myself, but especially ahead of the big Rebel Stakes, you're going to want to know what she has to say. She'll give you her picks for the day. Hopefully put a little money in your pocket if you listen to Nancy. So we're going to take a quick break. Not only will we have that, we're also going to upload some video of Josh. He's going to have your breakdown on the receiver transfer coming in that a lot of people are excited about, Omega Blake, and take a look at the receiving core as well. And we're also going to do our viewer comments. Make sure you leave a comment right now. We can pull those chats right on up and address any questions that you may have, and it's going to be a fun one. So we'll see you right after this break. All right, coming out of break, it is the one and only, as I promised, Nancy Holtis is joining us right now. What's up, girl? How you been?
That was a lot to live up to, and
No, it
that
wasn't. No, it wasn't. That wasn't.
DJ.
That wasn't even a good enough hype, I guess, introduction for you. Big day, look nice. Look
Well,
nice.
thank you very much.
Ready to go. Finally racing. I know we've ran into a couple
Yes.
situations that was difficult for us to get up and running, but finally we get the Rebel going today.
Finally.
Did that do anything with moving races from? Can they jam pack them into one day, or they just?
Well, sometimes we will fight darkness. We'll fight, maybe bad weather at the end of the day. So a lot of times we are trying to, get everything in while daylight is still
Yeah.
with us. But yeah, 12 races on the card. That's why we did start at noon, but it's such a fantastic day. So happy to see you guys and all the fans coming out.
We're pumped to be out here. Our first live show. We've got a chance to know each other for a very long time through the buzz.
Yes.
That is. And so, like I said, in for an absolute treat. But you've taught me a lot when it comes to racing. I didn't realize how much I did not know when it comes to what I can't even tell you. I've already lost track of what all the terms mean.
Well, it's simple, but it can be extremely complex.
It's a lot.
It is. There's a
Yes.
lot of studying that goes involved. There's a lot of chart reading. There's a lot of pedigree research. There's a lot of replay watching, before I make my final decisions. So, as a handicapper, I do a little more homework. So hopefully fans like you don't have to.
Yeah. So, Nancy is a great handicapper. People can actually see your picks. How can they
Yes.
do that?
Well, they can go to Oaklawn.com. They can go to Oaklawn Anywhere, my favorite ADW, my advanced deposit wagering site.
Yep.
Or you can pick up a sheet at the information booth, and it's free. We give our picks out for free. Sometimes people will pay for tip sheets, but we give ours to the public.
Okay. So we're on race 6 right
Yes.
now. What's the schedule look like today?
The schedule's jam-packed. We've already had a couple of stakes races. Our big 3 are coming up in races 9, 10, and 11. Those all graded.
Mhm.
And 2 of those, the Honeybee and the Rebel, points on the line towards the starting gate in the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby, respectively.
Okay. So when you say graded, that means
Yes.
this race means something today.
This race means something. And if a horse can hit the board in a graded stakes, that just makes them more valuable for resale purposes or in the breeding shed when they're done.
So what would you say are the storylines today here at Oaklawn as far as what's the big race? Are there some big names, big owners, trainers? What are the storylines?
We got all of them.
Okay,
we
let's
got
hear it.
all of them. But what's really cool is we've got the top jockeys in the country, coast to coast and everywhere in between. Right here, we've got the top trainers that have come in from coast to coast. So all eyes right now in the racing world are on Oaklawn.
Yeah, so I've noticed too, a lot of races go on throughout the day and you're just kind of hanging out. But when it
Mhm.
gets to that Rebel Stakes, it's a different ball game.
It is.
I was like, what's so different about this?
It
Why is that
is.
so significant?
Well, one thing that is so cool why trainers do send their horses to Oaklawn is because we have the fans. We've got fans out in the infield. We've got fans on the apron. Horses get to experience those screaming fans
Yeah.
coming down the stretch when we might not their home track might not have that. They get to ship experience running out of a different stall for the first time. So there's a lot on the line because a lot of trainers will use this, maybe skip another prep and train towards the Kentucky Oaks or Derby.
Yeah, we got race 6 wrapping up right now. It looks like the 7-horse coming in wearing the I forgot what it's called. Are they blinders or stuff? Coach Mc-
Blinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, wearing those nice hot pink blinkers. This one coming from the barn of Joe Sharp, and he was 10-1 on the morning line. He was bet down. He was 2-1 when I left the paddock about 10 minutes to post. So a big underlay. We've seen some really good prices so far, and I think we might see some good betting odds as we get later in the card.
All right, people watching that right now, we had Zach come on and talk about Oaklawn Anywhere. So they've downloaded the app.
Yes.
Now they want to try to win some money. Now, like I said, nothing is guaranteed.
No, there are no guarantees except death and taxes.
But if you were to point them in the right direction, what are your top picks today? What do you
Well,
like?
my top picks, I'm actually having a decent day.
Okay.
My second choice just won that particular race. Later on in the Honeybee, there's a horse that there's no such thing as a lock, but we like to say that, just as a little bit of insurance for ourselves. But Brad Cox sends out a really nice 3-year-old filly in Mahima. She's undefeated undefeated in 3 starts.
Yep.
And certainly does look like the one to beat. Not going to get a whole lot of bang for your buck with her because she is the favorite, but there's some really good horses underneath that you can use to maybe get a little more deposit in your Oaklawn Anywhere account.
Yeah, we're gonna pull up a viewer comment right now. This is Chris Alley, one of the owners at Rock and Roll Sushi.
I love Rock and
he
Roll
says,
Sushi.
"Bet with your heart, DJ."
That is true. There is such a thing.
Is that a thing?
There is such a thing as beginner's luck. I firmly believe
Okay.
that. A lot of people will come out, oh, I like the gray, or I like those silks, or that jockey's cute. That can actually be a good handicapping angle. A lot of people like to use the horse that is just use the restroom on the racetrack. Souvenirs here. So yeah, that can be a handicapping angle. But a lot of times, go with your gut. That's your best way. And my husband has taught me something in my 20 years of handicapping: study long and study wrong.
Yeah, that's right. You're seeing the finish right now
Yes.
coming across. A beautiful day at Oaklawn.
It
If y'all haven't
is,
had a
finally.
chance to get out here, especially, I'm sure y'all got stuff going on all the time, but the weather's going to start turning for the best, and it's going to be an awesome place to be
Yes.
to enjoy some races. What are some other highlights today as far as races that you like?
Well, just seeing the crowds come out is a big deal. And the fact that they've come out to support us in our Rebel Stakes is also a very big deal. We could very potentially see the Arkansas Derby and the Kentucky Derby winner.
Okay.
You know, we did see in last year's Southwest, we saw Mystic Dan, who went on to win the Kentucky Derby, and our fantasy winner, Torpedo Anna. She not only won the Kentucky Oaks, but she went on to earn Horse of the Year. That's a very big
Yeah, it's big
deal.
time.
That's like winning the Broyles Award, winning the Super Bowl, winning the World
Dang.
Series.
Okay, so it's a
That's
big deal.
everything if you get Horse of the Year honors. But the fact that trainers come here to prep their horses just speaks a lot.
And now, as far as picks, walk me through like the what's it, trifecta? How's it
A
work?
trifecta is the top 3 finishers. And one thing that I always do, I like to back up my bets. I box them.
Okay.
So if you box a 3-horse trifecta, that means you have it in any sequence that will finish.
So take a look at one of the next
Yes.
races, and if you were to put together a trifecta, what were you feeling?
Well, if I was going to put together a
Y'all pay attention, you're
trifecta,
about to win some
here
money.
we go. I'll tell you what, let's go with the Rebel Stakes.
Yeah.
My trifecta, I'm going to go with the 3, the 1, and the 11. 3, 1, 11, and I'm going to box those. So so that can come in any sequence with those 3 finishers.
Okay, so why 3, 1, and 11?
Well, Sandman, the number 3, actually had a horrific break last out. It's lucky that the jockey Christian Torres was able to stay on.
Yeah.
He credits his pinky toe with hanging on.
Wait,
in the
what?
iron.
How-
Yes. I mean, because if you look at a jockey when they have their feet in the irons, it's just like the grip of the toe. And they've got all that body weight, and they pound for pound are some of the greatest athletes in the sport, holding an 1,100-pound animal going 40 miles per hour.
Yeah.
But still was able to run a really good second, spotted the field almost about a dozen lengths by the time they were going on the first turn. Another horse, Coal Battle, won our first local prep in the Smarty Jones. He's looking for his 4th straight victory. I like a horse that is proven over the local course, and that is certainly the fact with Coal Battle, a great human interest story. Once these horses win stakes like that, the phone starts ringing with offers.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, I like it, but it's the first time they've had a really good horse in their stable. They don't take those offers.
Long shot?
Long shot.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
I tell you what, we're going to look at Tiztastic, who is the number 13 in the Rebel Stakes. He exits his 3rd place finish in the Southwest, makes his 2nd start off a bit of a layoff. It's hard to count out Steve Asmussen. He won a very prominent 3-year-old stake last week at the Fairgrounds in New Orleans, 43-1.
Come on now. What's that
When-
pay? So what's my math? $10, that would get me.
Oh, well, let's start. A $2 payout on a $43 horse is going to be about $88, $89.
$2? Come on now. What are we doing?
$2 on a
$2
43-1 is
What
going
are
to
we
bring
doing?
you just shy of $90. So that's not a bad day at the office.
Rebel's a big one today. The next big race will be the Derby.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You wanna do-
Very good. See, you're learning. You're
Working on it.
Boom.
All right, wait. Where's the honeybee fall into this?
The Honeybee is the prep today.
Oh, okay.
And then the race, like the girl version of the Arkansas Derby, is the Fantasy Stakes.
Okay. All right. So, want to preview the Derby? What is that going to be? I would say each year is special, but what's going to be
It is.
what horse do you think right now is going to be the favorite for that? Is that too early to tell?
Well, it's interesting because we just saw a really nice first-time starter cornucopian for Bob Baffert win by lengths
Yeah.
just a few races ago. Bob Baffert is represented in here with, I'd say, a horse that's maybe on his fourth string,
Okay.
Matticat Road. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bob Baffert ship one in and maybe take home even more points towards the Kentucky Derby.
So for those of you who are unaware of the horse racing world, Bob Baffert was under a little heat for a couple years.
A little bit.
Just a smidge.
Ooh, yeah, got a little hot. Got a little hot.
He had I guess a ban, not a ban, or a suspension.
Yeah,
two,
he
2
was
to 3
actually
years.
he was banned from running anything at Churchill Downs. That ban is now lifted, so he can go back. And I tell you what, if he's going to go back, he's going to go back loaded
Oh, you
for
know it.
bear.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna say that's what you get.
Oh,
for
yeah.
yeah. So I would be surprised to see Bob locked and loaded.
Oh yeah, so that'll be fun. Once again, Nancy, always appreciate you. Now you
My
put on
pleasure.
shows all the time. If people want to learn more, you even do things where people can come here early, right? And
I do.
yeah.
We actually had one this morning. Normally it's Saturday mornings. It's called Dawn at Oaklawn. It's a great morning program, free for all ages. And it's a great way to see training in process. You know, out at the track, you might see 12, 14 horses compete every half hour. We've got hundreds of horses on the track at any single moment doing all these things. I point out jockeys, I point out trainers, horses. So it's a really cool way to see horses improve. And just like getting to go to Arkansas Razorbacks practice.
Is that what it is? Yeah, a lot of stallions running around.
Yes, there
A
are.
lot of big butts, you know, and a lot of athletes.
I like a filly with a big
A
butt.
filly with a big butt. I don't even know what that is. What is that? Is that
It's
a
a female horse.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
want a filly with a big butt. All right, I'm with it. Nancy, always appreciate you. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna have our viewer comments and pending cooperation. We're gonna have that breakdown of Omega Blake. Still trying to work on that, figure out the kinks. Nancy, thanks so much for hopping on with
Thank
us.
you. It's always a
Appreciate
pleasure
you.
to hang out.
Always a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll be seeing a lot more of you later on. Tell y'all,
All
come
right.
down, hang out with this chick. She's awesome. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll see you right after. 2, 4th and 5. Coming back from break once again. Thanks for Nancy. I mean, I told you she's a Spitfire, right?
Oh, yeah.
No,
No
man.
doubt.
She's unreal. I really encourage people to come out to Oaklawn, get a chance to meet Nancy. She'll walk you through every step of the way, and big time. So don't forget, we are getting close to the end of our show. We got about 20 more minutes left. We're about to start talking about receiver Omega Blake in the receiving core as a whole right now, the state. Josh is going to have that for you. But before we're going to talk about that, once again, I want to let y'all know we're going to wrap up the show touching in with our viewer comments. I really want y'all to be engaged, be a part of the show. Any questions, any things you want us to answer moving forward. Actually see one here right now talking about the tight ends. We'll address that here in a second. But Josh, the receiver room. All right, that's what we kind of got. We need to start getting focus on. What'd you see so far when you've been watching tape?
Well, you got our quarterback coming back, so that's a good thing. And a guy that gets to come back and for a second year with Bobby Petrino, we're extremely excited to see his potential improvement. We've been talking about the offensive line and how he can help gear those guys up for success. But we have to address the fact that we lost some guys. So who are they? We lost Andrew Armstrong. That was a key guy. All SEC guy, going to be an NFL guy, play on Sundays. Isaac Tesla, done, out of eligibility. I honestly think he'd probably be an NFL guy as well. Tyrone Broden, he had the body to be an NFL guy, but he never got his footing here, so he's done too. All of his eligibility is gone. We had Isaiah Centennial, which was a hometown Fayetteville High School guy. You hate to see a guy like that leave us. And then we obviously had Jaden Wilson, who went to UCLA as well. Bryce Stevens, I'm not sure. I don't keep up with Bryce Stevens just because he didn't play as much, so I'm not as well in tune, but I think he's coming back. But nonetheless, that's enough guys to have left that were on the field as you're starting 5 wide to where now you've got to be able to fill the void. And so I put together a little breakdown for you guys to enjoy.
All right. All right. Hold on. All right, here. This is what we're gonna do. All right. So, like I said, it's our first live show. All right. We got some things to kind of figure out. And Josh having some audio issues, trying to get his file uploaded. What is the potential? I could play this video, and you voice over the whole thing. Take care of us.
Probably. Play it then.
I want to know what's going on. All right.
Well, I'll just tell you.
Let's bring the video back. All right. Now it's going to be weird. How often does your face pop up? A lot.
It comes back on. It comes back on the floor, but I'm
All
sure
right.
you could just screen through there and find the plays.
This is the fun part of trying to do something live. So you're going to voice it here. All right. The audio is going to be a little off, but we're just going to make it happen. All right. So I'll keep your mic up, Josh. All right. So let's go ahead and bring this back. I'm going to go ahead and press. I'm going to go ahead and press play and go ahead and cook it up for us and let us know exactly what is going on as far as the receivers breakdown. I wish I could speed ahead for you.
I wish you could too. Well, I know what we just got done talking about. We just got done talking about who left the University of Arkansas, and Coach Petrino obviously wanting to fill the void and have some wide receivers that can make some big plays for him. So, you got to think, first off, you've got Omega Blake here. This guy had 32 catches, 795 yards, 9 TDs in 2024, but he played at South Carolina before playing at Charlotte. So he's transferring from Charlotte, played at South Carolina prior to that. So big body guy, can make a lot of big plays. He's fast. He's quick with his feet. He gets off the line of scrimmage really well. He can take contact when trying to catch the ball. Look at him go vertical right here over the top. the guy that got off the ball, if we would have saw the beginning of the play, he's able to get off the ball really quick just by giving the guy a little 1-2 head fake. But then the speed to get over the top is absolutely what we need at the University of Arkansas right now, especially with losing Andrew Armstrong.
Yep.
We're not going to have it. So another guy that last year me and you were talking about was Courtney Crutchfield, a guy that got away from us in the state of Arkansas. So this is a guy that we were like, man, how did we lose him? He was highly ranked, 4-star recruit. He went to Missouri, but look at him now, coming back home. So this is the thing about the transfer portal that a lot of people don't understand, is that just because we don't get these in-state guys now doesn't mean they're not going to come back, because hell, we could lock in the guys in-state and then they're just going to transfer on us after their freshman year if they don't get enough play time. Then we got Raylan Sharp, 124 catches, 1,500 yards over the last 2 years. This guy played with one of Ronnie Fouch, one of our coaches here at Missouri State, then transferred to Fresno State. So he's coming back. So you can see that we're kind of slowly loading all the pieces there. This guy actually played against us last year at the UAB game. So what Cam Shanks, I'm sure y'all remember him. He actually showed out a little bit. He was short, shifty, kept moving, hard to catch, hard to tackle on the field. It's those guys that like don't have the size and stature to be able to play in the SEC, but then they go to a smaller school and they show out, and it's like, oh, you know what? Transfer portal rules now. Come on up and play with us.
Almost like a little bit of Isaiah Satania.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're trying to figure out a way to kind of replace some of these key roles. And, you know, Isaiah Satania showed big flashes for us, but if we have to admit, it wasn't like he was consistent all year long. There was a lot of issues with, maybe it wasn't his fault, just getting him the ball. Mm-hmm. So it's these type of guys that we have to be able to make sure that we fill in on the slots that we're missing. But Omega Blake is the guy who stands out the absolute most. This guy right here, Ishmael CC from Stanford. He's kind of your hit or miss guy because he doesn't really have all the stats over the course of his Stanford career, but he's got the body, he's got the size, the plays that he has made on film. He's shown good hands, good feet. He kind of reminds me of a Carlton Salters.
Oh, oh Lord.
Do y'all remember that?
I remember him.
He just has a way of getting open.
Has he got the swag? All the wristbands?
Yeah, he don't have all the wristbands. He don't
Carlton Salters. He had about 20 wristbands on each arm.
Right. Yeah. but he knew football and he knew how to get open, which is what we're going to need. So I think year 2 Bobby Petrino offense with Taylor Green is all about being poised in the offensive scheme that we're in, making sure that pre-snap the offensive line knows what to do. But then, again, what we just watched on film earlier with Taylor Green being able to just direct the defense where he wants them to go so he can put the ball where it needs to go and help his receivers out. And obviously, with this transfer portal situation, we've dealt with a lot of guys leaving after last season. So filling that void is important. I've got some Omega Blake film coming up here that I want to, if you can skim to it, I'd love for you to be able to skim to it.
It's a little difficult with our little setup right here, but I guess we can try to make it work. Now, that may be hard, Josh. You know, we're going to have to go with this thing on the fly.
Well, go ahead. Let me get your take on Omega Blake, because you're the one who told me to break his film down.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
To be honest, I've been paying a lot more attention to the offensive line. I've been paying attention to the defensive line. I haven't looked at 1 ounce yet as far as the receivers that have come in. Just because, you know, I think for this team, we can get all the Ferraris, all the fast cars, all that stuff if we want to. Our biggest problem is going to be up front, and that's where we have to compete. That's why we've been taking a lot of time kind of looking at the big boys, but then you have to start adding in these pieces with the completely depleted receiver roster. Not only did you lose your receivers, you lost your tight ends, you lost number 1 guys, some to the portal, other ones to the draft. And so coming up moving forward, you're just going to have a lot of guys that can make something happen. But here we go. We're looking at some tape right here. Who's this?
I think you hit the nail on the head. This is Omega Blake, but you've got the offensive line hopefully sharpened up, right? And now they can protect you for 4 or 5 seconds max. So then you got to be able to have weapons that you can get the ball to. This is Omega Blake going deep over the top. I showed this because it was some of his early SEC game film, and it's his ability of just being able to be faster than the cornerbacks that are on the field is number 1. This is Omega Blake at the bottom of the screen here. I want you to see this. This is the confidence that Charlotte had in him as a wide receiver last year. You're going to see at the snap of the ball, the quarterback's just going to give it one of those quick little head fakes to the left. But this play is designed, and they know who it's going to the whole time. He wasn't open. There was a corner draped all over him. But there's a lot of confidence that's going on with this team, with Omega Blake out there on the edge. You know, hey, look, there's no way this guy's going to stop him. And what I noticed when I watched this film is the body contact here. He's eating it up. It's getting a little handsy. But you have these guys that can be fast, but maybe they can't take contact. Maybe they can't find the ball when it's in the air. Omega Blake's the complete package. He can do it all. Every single one of the plays that I have here they're all just kind of highlighting his athletic ability and then being able to just go find him with the ball, which is what we need. A lot of people were knocking where he came from on the message boards. They were talking about, oh, he came from Charlotte. This isn't really that good. This guy can't replace Andrew Armstrong. And maybe he can't. Maybe that's what's ultimately we're going to find out. But if you're just looking at game film alone and you're looking for a guy to be a playmaker, this guy has that same potential. Check him out again here at the bottom of the screen.
Hey, I want to call out, too, that Andrew Armstrong came from Texas A&M, Corpus Christi.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And he's an all-SEC receiver last year.
There's plenty of talent in these smaller schools. And again, this guy's a guy who was at South Carolina right out of high school. So one-on-one situations, this is just being an athlete. It's not like he got off the ball and just gave this guy a burn over the top. He was with him the whole time, plants off of his back foot, high points the ball, has the presence and awareness to find his foot in bounds right before the catch, get out of bounds. Now, this is the type of situations that we need. And I honestly felt like even with Andrew Armstrong, we didn't have this. We didn't have the go up and get it type of wide receiver. We have that this year with an Omega Blake. He's the type of guy that you just snap the ball and you send him and you throw it to the pylon and you're looking for a wide receiver to be able to make a play. So if you guys are wondering, were we able to put together the pieces? I can tell you one thing. We got one piece, and that's Omega Blake. I truly believe that he's going to be an effective receiver in the SEC. He's going to replace our wide receiver one. He's got all the intangibles. He's got the height. He's got the speed. He's got the playmaking ability. And you've got that trustworthiness that him and Taylor need to develop so that he can just say downset hut and put the ball where it needs to be so that this guy can go out and make the play.
It wasn't pretty, but we made it work.
We made it
work. I mean? We made it work. That was a lot to kind of remember. But, no, I do like the ability of what we've been able to do. I was a little worried there for a while because we had a lot of receivers come in that were tiny. We had a lot of tiny guys come in. But now adding him, a couple other guys with a little bit more size, and now with what we've seen with Taylor Green, the tiny guys don't necessarily make me that nervous. We saw when Petrino came back to Arkansas when he was at Missouri State. I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he had, I would say, 5'9", 5'10" receivers. But they understood the offense. And you put those guys in man-to-man situations, crossing routes, and these good 5-yard hitches, double moves. That's a lot, especially when it comes to guys understanding this offense. But, yeah, you do need that one weapon on the outside, and hopefully that's going to be Omega Blake. You know, he doesn't look like the biggest guy, not going to have your Andrew Armstrong or anything like that. You know, those dependable – I mean, Andrew Armstrong was awesome. I think one of the more underrated – Andrew was about 6'4", big stature, and so we're going to see what that was. We thought Broden was going to be that guy, and like you said, just kind of fell apart. But I am optimistic with the crew that we have put together. But when the lights turn on and those bullets start flying for real in the SEC, it could be a different ball game.
It's spring ball too.
Yeah.
So you know that's kind of where like the men are made. Everybody's fighting for the position. Everybody's trying to figure it out. The coaches are acting crazy. The strength coaches are acting even crazier.
Yeah.
You know, you've just got a lot of competition. Everybody's trying to fill the void for the job. But what we don't think about, we have the transfer portal coming up again at the end of the spring.
Yep.
So that's the crazy thing about college football now is like, yeah, we shuffle pieces around, but depending on how spring plays out, we could be shuffling those pieces around again, or even collecting some of those pieces from other schools.
That's actually one thing I want to comment or question you guys on is I've seen a lot of coaches come out and say, hey, no publicized spring game anymore.
Oh, yeah.
We're not bringing them in because all it is free advertising for these players to come get, I'm not going to say post. I almost said post. I'm not going to say it. I just did. From other schools. And so you've seen Matt Rule at Nebraska. I believe Lincoln Riley at USC. Big schools come out and said, hey, look, no more spring games. We're not putting them on ESPN. We're not putting them on ABC, whatever it was, the big deal there. And so what do you guys think about that? I mean, is that smart? Is that something? I mean, I think it's really intelligent. But it's once again, we're talking about all these awesome things we used to be able to see. Yeah. And now you can't because of the portal and NIL and all these things.
So we got into a debate on the Buzz and talking about, is the spring game really that big of a deal when it comes to evaluation? And I argue that it does. A couple people said that it's not that big of a deal, and we can understand in today's world, we lost a lot of guys after the spring game last year, you know, and if you're going to tell me that coaches aren't watching this stuff, and if they got to hole in their team or their program, and it just needs to be filled with one guy that potentially is underutilized at another program, and they got the money to somewhat have somebody go talk to them, there could be a level of poaching. When I hate to say the word poaching, but it is what it is in college sports. Now, I think the spring game is awesome for the fans to come out with a real game environment, even though a lot of the practices will be open to the public at Arkansas for the spring game. But there's something about that day, going through the routine, having the cheerleaders out, running through the A, kind of setting the tone as, we end up spring ball, what's going to happen moving into the fall, your first little glimpse. But I also do think, too, when we go through those routines as players, it's just like a game day. And to me, I personally felt different than just regular practice.
Yeah.
I felt this sense of, oh, crap, it's a little bit more pressure. Oh,
It's
man,
leveled up.
it's leveled up. Now it's televised. And I think that's the only real glimpse a coach could potentially get into his team of who can perform under the lights and who's just a practice player.
Saturday and fall.
Practice. How many times have you been practice players? You've seen them.
Yeah.
They look awesome. Kind of reminds me of the guy in warm-up layup lines in basketball.
Yeah.
Dude coming out there doing all this stuff, and you're watching like, oh, that dude must be a baller.
Doesn't see the court.
Doesn't see the court at all, And so there's something different, and I think there is something to gain and learn from as a coach of seeing it was close all spring.
Right.
This guy's a gamer. This is who we need to really focus on moving forward. So
Completely
I
agree.
think the spring game will help with that, but some people think it's not a big deal at all.
Well,
Yep.
a lot of the second and third string guys, that's their last ditch effort, right?
Yeah.
Before you decide if you're going in the transfer portal now. So you're playing as hard as you can play to either say, hey, coach, this is why you should be putting me in because I am a gamer. This is why I should be getting this opportunity. Or, you're giving it one last hoorah before you decide to enter onto the portal. So there's a different attitude now, especially with the portal in play. It's like competition at the final spring game should be the highest that it's ever been. But I know now coaches get really kind of finicky without trying to get people hurt, right?
Well, that's the thing, man. But I mean, I can see it from the program side of the perspective as well. Like, why am I going to go advertise all my guys out here
Right.
for everybody to come look at?
Right.
And so they got who they got on their spring roster. That's who they want to keep. I can see where it's like, hey, I'm going to shut this thing down, man. I'm not going to let somebody come in and get free eyes on my guys.
Yeah.
We're about to take a quick break. We're trying to track down Wayne Smith. He's the general manager here at Oaklawn. And like I said, a big part of our partnership is thanks to Wayne. And so we're going to try to track him down, have him come on and talk about all the amazing things that Oaklawn has to offer. They just hosted the Broyles Award. I think that event's been in Little Rock for the past 28 years, bringing in some of the best college coaches of all time. I mean, Kirby Smart won the Broyles Award. I mean, we can go down a list of big-time coaches that have won it. They just hosted this about 2 weeks ago, and they had the biggest attendance that they've ever had. So we'll talk more about all the things when it comes to Oaklawn if we can track him down before we wrap up this show. Also, viewer comments, we're going to have those when we come back. So right now is your chance. Type him in right now. And I'll say this. When our audio went down, Pooh Bear to Plug. I'm not sure who that is, Pooh Bear to Plug, but I like it. He pretty much said
Omega.
yeah, he
gonna be a
said
walking putty.
Josh was born to do this when it comes to just voicing it, but that made me think of Bill O'Reilly when we said we'll do it live. And my guy Slice Lemonade, look at him. Yeah, he says F it. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
We gotta make things work.
Y'all
And
don't understand. Me and DJ almost fought before we got on the show because these technical difficulties with my video.
we almost did get into a fight. All right. Literally about 30 seconds before it went live, us doing this, when you do a live show, I've been in this industry for about, 10 years. And when it comes to building a show, you need your content,
Gotta
right?
have it.
Yeah.
Gotta have it.
And we went through our content plan Tuesday.
Hey, man, I'm building other people's content. I built Matt Harris. I built your content. Okay.
You did Matt's. I did two of Grant's.
No, y'all were
So-
sipping coffee and eating bacon this morning.
Uh,
Doing y'all's live, so I don't want to hear this.
We were up at 7 a.m. just to double check.
I was talking to you at 7 a.m.
Race 7 just ended. And so I'm just saying, we had the plan all set Tuesday and Sunday, and about 30 minutes before, Josh was like, hold on, man, try to get it in.
Hey, no more dirty laundry, man. This is not
See what I
my
deal with?
Hey.
No, DJ's the king of dirty laundry. He's putting it out there.
Oh, that being said, we're about to take a quick break. We did track down Wayne. He's going to join us here in just a little bit. And on the other side, we're going to have some viewer comments. We got some good stuff coming in from a lot of our viewers and listeners right now. Pretty fun. And we'll address the tight end as well. So y'all stay with us. It's just going to be a quick little 2-minute break, viewer comments, and Wayne Smith on the other side. All right, quick little break as we get into our viewer comments. Once again, if you want us to answer one of your questions, now is the time to throw that up before we move on and kind of get this thing rolling. We're still waiting on Wayne Smith to get here to wrap up our show here at Oaklawn. But yeah, first, let me bring this one up. We did a lot of breakdowns today, okay? So we did 2 of the offensive linemen transfer that came out of the transfer portal. We did a receiver. We did a DB. We talked about some highlights that Taylon Green left us with last year with promise of moving forward. One area of concern, and y'all know me, the tight end position depleted. Now we are bringing back Puska. I think that's how you say his name. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. But we lost just about everyone. We lost a few guys that got suspended. We all remember what happened with Ty Washington and Varquise Gums. Luke Has obviously was a big surprise when he decided to leave and transfer to Ole Miss. And so what does that leave us with? And I would say it leaves us with a really big hole, especially in a Bobby Petrino offense. And I've already quickly glimpsed at a couple clips from the tight ends that we got coming in. And my first impression is we're in trouble. We got a guy, I think we got 3 tight ends coming in, and I just watched a little stuff. One kid coming in from A&M. Now, he is somewhat familiar with Petrino's offense when he was at A&M as the offensive coordinator. A couple other D2 or JUCO guys coming in. And just simply based off what I've seen so far, we got a lot of work to do. That does make me a little bit nervous. Usually Coach Petrino's favorite personnel is going to be your ace personnel. That's going to have your one tight end and then your receivers, one outside, and then a running back. But then now you're getting in a situation where he may have to keep the tight end off of the field and get his offense done that way. If that's the case, that's really going to close down Coach Petrino's playbook. And so that's something I'm going to keep an eye on. But even beyond just the ability to be a dynamic playmaker in the passing game, we all know the tight end, especially in Petrino offense, it's huge when it comes to the blocking game as well. And also being another coach. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times the communication between myself and the tackle, things that we relay down to make sure it gets to the other side, letting you know the defensive line is about to slant. All of these things, it's just a lot to ask from a tight end. And so I'm a little bit worried about it right now as far as that position group. Probably, in my opinion, the biggest concern at a position group for the University of Arkansas. But if we pick, your option of the biggest concern for position group, what would you say?
It's hard to say, really, but I probably have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Tight ends have to be so multiple. You're bringing something in. It's a complex offense to learn. You got one guy that's been there, done that. Maybe one that's halfway there from A&M, two new that are going to be completely new to this in offense. And so there's the tight ends are asked to do a lot of things on the offensive side of the ball. I am not as worried about the offensive line. I think they've got some pieces there they can build off of. Talon seems to be improving. We got some guys out of the portal from the receiver room. Running backs, I think, are still strong. Braylon coming back is big. In and out of the portal 2 or 3 times. I don't know whatever happened on that deal.
Good.
Defensive side of the ball. The one thing I could point on the defensive side of the ball is the defensive line.
Yeah.
You got Cam Ball coming back, but you lost Landon Jackson.
Yeah.
You lost Judica. You lost a bunch of guys that were contributors. Eric Gregory. And there's a lot to replace there. And you guys know the SEC and college football in general, it's games are won and lost in the trenches.
100%.
So you got to have both sides.
DJ, I think in regard to your tight end comment or what we think we need to do with tight ends, I think we forgot about Shamar Easter from Ashdown.
Yeah.
He's been redshirted, and I don't know what was going on in the last year. He played. I think they moved him to receiver, but he is 6'5", 6'6", 230 pounds.
Yeah.
He's everything you need for a tight end, and he was one of the top-ranked tight ends in the country when we got him. So he's in the locker room, and I've got to think that in the same way that Bobby Petrino kind of moved Chris Gregg from wide receiver to tight end, that's a very similar type of a player that he's probably kind of, twiddling his fingers, kind of going, man, maybe I should do that. Because I think that there's your answer right there, because he was a highly touted tight end coming out of high school. And in regards to the player group, I think offensive line has got to be the area that we shore up first, because I don't care what you're doing. If our quarterback's on the run, we're going to have a very similar story.
Yeah, so as far as Shamar Easter is concerned, obviously big-time recruit coming out of high school. I believe a 4-star. He was pushing 5 on some, and then really haven't seen much of him. And the decision that they made to move him to receiver for the bowl game, and you didn't see him a lot on the field at all, even at practice when I watched the spring game, is when it goes from high school to college, we are all quickly introduced to, these are some grown-ass men, all right? And, everyone kind of reacts to this differently. And not saying this is a knock on Shamar, but able to do that, you have to be physical. You have to be a willing blocker. You have to be willing to do all of these things. That is a lot to ask for a guy who probably didn't do much of that in high school. So that's just a huge eye-opener. And I just don't see that happening since they moved him to receiver instead of tight end, and they just went with a 1 tight end set for the bowl game. So I'd be surprised if that's a thing that kind of gets rocking and rolling. Another thing that popped up too, and we'll see how long it takes before all this starts happening. People are asking about a coach who is at SMU, and Grant, you may have to catch me up on this. A lot of people are talking about Rhett Lashley. Would he come if Pittman decides to move on? Well, I honestly, big connection here. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. So I think he played quarterback at Shiloh, born and raised in Springdale. Coach there, was under the Malzahn tree. And it's one of those things where, does he want to come back home?
Yeah.
Right. And then what is SMU willing to let go of it? And so, I think there were some things out there around him this past year. Hey, it could be there's ties here to the University of Arkansas. Maybe there's somebody's interest there.
Mm-hmm.
But then SMU, and just so everyone's aware, SMU is known as a very highfalutin school.
Yeah.
Right? They got a big donor base.
Yeah.
And so a big booster, anonymously said, if we lose Rhett Lashley, it will not be because of money.
Yeah.
And now SMU's in the ACC. They've got a huge NIL budget. So they've got everything available to them that they can go be competitive in the playoff.
Yeah.
And so is that something that we, can we compare ourselves to SMU in that way? We got a lot harder road to the playoff than SMU does coming out of the ACC. So does Rhett have interest maybe to get back home? But I think as far as a coach wanting to get to the pinnacle of winning national championships, SMU may have an easier route to get there. And if they're going to pay him a ton of money to stay,
why leave?
Yeah.
And they get that oil money down there.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of it. It keeps coming. As long as that's not coming out of the ground, NIL is going to be strong.
Yeah. That's something I'm not even worried about that. It won't take long before the whole coaching talk starts. Real quick, you're looking behind Grant. You see this guy in this simulator. The Mainline Sports Bar, as we bring in Wayne Smith right now, GM over here at Oaklawn. It's a really cool venue, man. We were here for the Super Bowl, Wayne, and it was awesome. You got the TVs. You got these 3 bays where they have golf simulators, football, baseball, hockey, soccer. They got them all. They got axe throwing down there. The food is amazing. It's just been unbelievable what Oaklawn has been able to build over the years. A lot of it is thanks to you. Just real quick, and we want to thank you, too, for having us here, Wayne. It's been a fun little journey and what we've been doing, building this partnership with Oaklawn. But finally able to get out here now that the weather is cooperating for a nice race today for the Rebel.
Well, we hope we can get you back even for more days.
Oh, yeah, that's the plan.
Isn't this fun?
Oh, my gosh, it's fun.
The energy is so unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
We're so thankful to our fans coming in, all the changes we've had to make this week and canceling racing yesterday and moving racing from Friday to Saturday and Saturday to Sunday and so on. So, yeah, no, this is a great day for a Sunday. This is beautiful.
Well, first of all, you got a good team because when that happened, a lot of moving parts had to happen.
Yes.
All right. They get on the phone call, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know if we were still going to do this, but the team made it happen. I was like, we're low on the totem pole here at Oaklawn.
No.
They still made it happen. But when it comes to that, y'all do it first class, everything that you do. Everything from, we ate at the Bugler last night. Awesome food.
Good.
Unbelievable. We'll get to the Oak Room one day. Y'all got a spa that's now getting recognized by Forbes.
Yep.
You got these great conference rooms where you just hosted the Bros Award, bringing in the best assistant coach in all of college football.
That's right.
I mean, Oaklawn is setting the standard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, that's one of the things that we've been trying to drive excellence. You know, our service level is what we're really trying to promote and no, this has been one heck of a couple of weeks. I'll be honest with you. This has been fun, and the Broyles Award and the attention and stuff that we've gotten out of that has been remarkable for us. And you guys coming down here. I mean, come on, 4th and 5's the best now.
4th and 5 coming
This
coming
is
to
the
you.
best podcast in the area. Come on.
Hey, man, you know it, Wade. And so, like I said, we're working on some things here in the future.
Yes.
Of having people come out. Like I said, we've talked about this too. We're going to try to create an area because Grant talks about offensive linemen. All right.
Yes.
And it's a lot of technique, a lot of hand placement, and you got to get your feet right, right?
Okay.
So we're going to start having guests come out as props and saying, you want to see how this is? And Grant's going to put it through the ringer, all right? So
I got a few guests that I can bring over for you, all right?
Sign them up. We'll get a list going.
Show them the ropes. I love it. That's awesome.
So obviously the Rebel Stakes today, big race, the biggest one of the year will be the Arkansas Derby. That will be in March, right?
March 29th.
Yeah, March 29th.
Yes, Saturday. Yep.
The day for that. And then real quick, I want you to brag about Oaklawn, people that have never been here before. This is actually Grant's first time to Oaklawn, and just from top to bottom, he's been impressed. But somebody that's on the fence about coming out, what would you say about it?
Oh, I'm going to tell you, well, this time of year is the best time to come, obviously, from a racing perspective. Then you go from racing, you can go to the casino. You have the resort that we can hang out in a hotel room, right? A hotel room that actually overlooks the racetrack. And there's just so many options to do, and not just at Oaklawn, but when you come to Oaklawn, you actually are coming to a community.
Yep.
So you're coming to the city of Hot Springs. There's so many things to do, and we try to help people get acclimated to the city. We have hiking, biking. We have 40 miles of some of the high-end bike trails in the country. And so the city of Hot Springs downtown, wonderful, the lakes, the golfing, all that stuff. So we try to incorporate everything within our community, within Oaklawn. Now, obviously, we want you to stay. We want you to have fun in the hotel. We want you to get to our restaurants, but we also want you to experience what we have to offer as a community. And then ultimately, that will keep you coming back longer. As opposed to just coming to Oaklawn every single day.
And one thing that was cool too, as you're bragging about the town of Hot Springs, the history here.
It's
second to none. I mean, talk about that.
So you know what? This was I didn't know this until I got here. Hot Springs was Vegas before Vegas was ever thought of being.
That's what he was trying to tell me. About Al Capone.
Oh my God, they had Al Capone here. They had Babe Ruth. Actually, they used to have spring training here. The Red Sox and used to bring Babe Ruth down. And so there was like 4 or 5 teams, Major League Baseball teams that came down here for spring training. So we had Babe Ruth. I mean, there's all kinds of pictures of him on horseback here in the infield and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we stayed at the Arlington, and so we were talking about it last night, and I heard that Al Capone tried to make Hot Springs Vegas.
Yes,
I mean he did everything he could when he went on vacation. When he left Chicago, he came to Hot Springs.
Yeah,
and we were thinking there's the Al Capone suite there at the Arlington and all that, and we were walking up the stairs and we're like, Al Capone walked up these stairs.
Yeah.
And some really cool things is actually that was during Prohibition as well. So he actually would he would bring his liquor up in the mountains, bring it back to Chicago, right? So really cool stuff. But no, again, you guys are awesome. We appreciate the support that you give us, on every day that we talk to you, and just the fact that people can just come to Oaklawn, have an entertainment experience, have a lot of fun, and do whatever they want to do, whether it's horse racing, casino, resort, spa. Again, like you mentioned, our event center, having meetings and group business and retreats for businesses and things like that. It has really made a big difference for us over the last 3 or 4 years.
And I want to make sure that people know when it comes to staying here, it's not a secret anymore about Hot Springs. All right. So make your bookings in advance. All right.
Yes.
So we wanted to stay here, but then I wasn't even thinking, all right, let me try to book last minute. What was I thinking? All right.
So, well, you happen to know somebody, so we might be able to hook you up next time.
We don't like to ask for any favors around here.
I need to get my wife down here next time. I got to get her in that spa. I kind of walked around a little bit last night when we first got here, and it is incredible. You're going to love that thing.
It is the place to be. No secret here. So if you are interested to coming down and staying at Oaklawn, they got rooms that look over the track. I mean, it is beautiful. And once you're here, you honestly don't even have to leave if you don't want to.
That's right.
But you can also, it's just 3 miles down from Central where all the stuff is. Great restaurants. But like I said, all the great restaurants are here as well. So you can book those reservations at oaklawn.com and learn everything that they have going on. We had Zach on talk about the sports betting. We had Nancy on talk about the racing. I mean, it's just been a fun show. So once again, 4th and 5 wants to thank y'all for letting us be a part of this and what you already have going on here at Oaklawn. We just want to be a part of it, and thanks for letting us hop on.
Well, we want to thank 4th and 5 for actually choosing to come here.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a great time, and hopefully we'll see you back on all of our big days, and even more so.
Yeah, Wayne, as long as you have us, we'll be here. All right.
Yeah, come on. Hey, look, that Super Bowl party was those folks stayed all night long, even though it was a blowout. And a lot of the Chiefs fans that were here, there was a lot of Chiefs fans. They actually stayed to hang out with you guys the whole time. So that's what we're trying to do, is provide those entertainment options. You know, we got Roger Scott here with his residency of trivia. How can we get 4th and 5 here to be a residency going forward well, right?
All you got to do is ask. We'll make it happen.
That's what we got to work on.
Hey, Wayne, appreciate you so much. Everybody, appreciate y'all. 2 hours strong here on the stream, our first live show. Couple hiccups here and there, but overall, I thought it was great. Appreciate everybody for sending in your comments, being part of this show. Thanks to Oaklawn once again for having us out. And don't forget, you still got time. If you're watching this, get to Hot Springs. The Rebel Stakes still racing today. That should be off around 5 o'clock, right? Is that when that race is?
Just about that time. Yes,
just
that's
about
right.
5 o'clock. So get out here. The weather is beautiful. DJ Williams here with Grant Cook, Josh on the other side. We got Wayne Smith here from Oaklawn. Appreciate y'all. Y'all staying tuned. Much more from 4th